Let's look into Earth in 2026, shall we?
Here we've got what we would try to call a debate on the Frojack's channel. He only has 4.357 subscribers, so y'all ought to give him a look here. Apparently they're discussing this topic. I'm sure they go to many others, but they said something, so this guy wanted to call him out. So he's one that wanted to debate him in the first place and go off the idea because he can't handle reality. Now, it's about a 45-minute video, and with me talking through it and then showing clips of his lies, it's probably going to go to a second part video, or I'll have to do a second part to this. But let's see what we can do inside of one, shall we? So this is just showing you a little preview of what he's going to try to do, and then they get into the initial meeting and conversation.
You took all my money. You took everything I have. You robbed me. You killed me. You raped me.
What do you think the quality of life would be for black people if white people never interfered with them? Would they be better off?
Hell yeah. Do you know what we was building pyramids?
But how's it going? What did you want to debate about?
As you saw, the we wasery was all over that. Get your bingo card ready for what they try to claim. Let's go.
We have a 2-event card with Dumb Lies, and Neptune's Lagoon brings you the event tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Your lies are about to crumble!
Nah, I seen videos of y'all talking about, how white people are better than blacks and all this stuff. And when it comes down to it, basically y'all got everything off of leeching off us. Y'all leached off our land, leached off our labor, leached off everybody. Really, everything y'all got from leeching off other people. Leached off.
Wow. It's funny you mention the word leech, because it's a common epitaph given to y'all. You're the most propped up people ever in the history of humanity, and you're basically just a leech. The amount of taxes that are accrued by you is far outweighed by all of the programs trying to prop you up. Yeah, and so we end up as a group negative, negro, negative, yes. But they got everything from black people. They weren't some pre-Neolithic people that didn't know the world existed and had to be explained that Africa existed, and then they started making up stupid cargo cult mentality bullshit. Is that your attempt? Because we're going to address that a few times in all this. We got everything from you whenever your people have nothing. So I've made a few videos recently about Bantu City Diaries and Frank Zenu, and they're educated black people going around the country, and they're like, we're fucked. It's our own problem, our mental thing. Y'all are trying to prop us up. You spent $4.4 trillion, but we're incapable. Incapable. You're just wasting your money. You might as well burn it. That's their take on it. And Bantu City Diaries says the answer is for all of sub-Saharan Africa to be colonized, and for a whole lot longer than last time, because it didn't take. They never got the idea, and they're so corrupt nowadays they've ruined everything. Can you name a black sub-Saharan civilization that's prospered and done something good that you could use as an example? Of course not. Let's go.
Native American land leached off. Now y'all trying to leech off of Venezuela oil, all that stuff. So it's like, I think
Venezuela oil. So they must have talked to him after Trump took out Maduro. Yeah. Believe it or not, we set up all their oil infrastructure, from what I understand, and they owed us that, but they balked on us and started selling to the Soviets in China right over here in our backyard, and that's not available. Of course, you don't understand politics, and that was a real 3D chess move, so I'm sure you don't understand it. I don't necessarily agree with us going over and fighting Iran, because now we're looked at as the Superman that's supposed to go around and fix everything for people, and it involves Israel and things, so we're doing their bidding in many cases. That's probably due to our connection to the Caucasian God that doesn't mention your people whatsoever. And that's okay, because he doesn't mention Oriental people or Amerindians or Eskimos or Islanders or any sub-Saharans, of course. So that's going to have to be okay that you're not in the Bible that's made out of Caucasian mythology. Of course, the Caucasian mythology only mentions Caucasians. Goo.
Have like a clear reality of what's really going on and what's happening and what happened in the past.
What is your name? Just really quick, I just want to make sure. I'm Jackson. This
Dr.
is Forrest.
My name Dr. 16 on IG. I was on Twitch.
Dr. 16. They got to put a name on front of it like Doctor or MC or something, like there's something, and then he put Dr. 16. Is this an indication of the age of the women that you like to go after, or where did you get this stupid, foolish name that just labels you as a tard? You know, they often want to label themselves as that, or the funny thing is they'll try to put Hotep and put some other culture's name all over themselves. Actually, Black Americans are all using someone else's name. You don't see any of them named Ungugugu. And of course, they never had middle names or last names. That's a Caucasian thing too. But you don't see them trying to have that Gugu name. They want to have the Whitey name, but then they want to make a new name for themselves and try to pimp themselves. I is Doctor this. I is Doctor that. Like Dr. Dre. I mean, does he have a diploma? No, you don't have a diploma, but you're trying to act like you did. Later they call you smart, but they're just doing that to see if you'll shut up and let them give you the questions so you can answer the question at hand. Hey, let's do this right now, if y'all would, mentally, maybe on a piece of paper down there. Count how many times this guy interrupts them as they try to ask him questions, and how many times he tries to skirt the question by bringing up all kinds of bullshit like that. Later we'll come up with another number or another reason to do all of this and see it. But later in the video they have to actually say 30 seconds apiece, right? But you see that fall apart right off the bat. But they try to get that. So let's just go with his lies here. Let's let a few of them run through.
I was on X, but they.
So basically, my understanding is the point that you're making is that white people are burdensome and they leech off of other racial groups of people.
Wow, that's an exact description of black people, not white people in any way, shape, or form. We are the most altruistic people who are trying to help out everybody. In fact, like I said with the Superman thing, it's a little bit much, but we're trying to help everybody out because our women are like, oh, look, a baby bunny, and we've got to help her. Yeah, so that's a bit of an issue too. But let's just get into your group of lies. You're rubbing your chin, trying to think, well, how could I make this seem like I victim?
Basically, I leashed off everybody.
But what was America called before the white colonials came here?
What was it called? It was called whatever the Native American language, whatever they called it in their language.
Well, here's the thing. The Native Americans, there were about 600 different tribes on the land, and all of them had different names, different tribes. They had different sub-religions. They were all distinct people. So there wasn't really one country. It was like 600, if you can call it a country, which they didn't
And they didn't actually call it a country. And they didn't claim even lands. They took it over from each other over and over like savages. The comparison is like sub-Saharan Africa, where there's all these tribes that aren't related and hate each other. Then there's the Khoisan that are definitely totally different. He'll try to mention them later and say they look Chinese. And and then East Africans, all of which have admix from elder times, but we'll get into that whenever it's needed. But yeah, real problem with reality here. real problem with reality, and so they make up foolish lies, and it always contains victim, and you stole our brains and all of our things, and now we're incapable, and it's because of Whitey, and it's like, we're trying to make you more capable. You ever notice school? They didn't have any schools in sub-Saharan Africa. They didn't have writing to even do it with. They didn't have their own language until the 1940s. Until then, they were going off Islamic languages and things because the Islamic slave trade started 900 years before the Americas were even found. But blacks can't handle that, or the fact that they're still going on today. White people ended slavery, and wow, that was the most expensive cotton ever in the history of textiles, wasn't it?
Believe in borders or land ownership, so there wasn't even the concept of nationhood within the nation.
Yeah, they were the free people.
Well, they weren't exactly free. I mean, they were constrained by their biological limitations and their socio-cultural surroundings. Right? Well, I mean,
you know that they had governments, right?
I mean, sure, like
all the same way that we do.
All sorts of people will have different hierarchies of order and power structure.
Yeah, they had chiefs and things like that for each individual one, but they were warring with each other. I remember as a kid, my dad was deep into American Indians and the Wild West and everything. We took a few of our summer vacations to go to Dodge City, Kansas, and see the OK Corral and all these other places. It was cool. I would have preferred Disneyland. Well, but if we did that one year, then we would have been covered and been able to do the other, but it just ended up being like that. Here's a concept for you. We call them American Indians, but that's a misnomer because there was no America. America was founded by Caucasian people. And so it's kind of a misnomer when we try to call them American Indians whenever there was no America for there to be before they came over from England, basically, and created this incredible nation that's here today that you're leeching off of with your thick, fake silver chain.
But they do manifest differently. But when you say we leached off of black people, like, be specific. Like, what exactly did we leech off of black people?
Like you.
Yeah, what you got that we didn't have. We, the most advanced people ever on the history of the planet during the whole time, from Cro-Magnon toolkits all the way through. Yeah, and Cro-Magnons have been renamed early European modern humans because they finally got the genetics out of one of them, and that haplogroup I still exists to this day. It's really hooked up to a lot of Nordic and people like that. And then, of course, what came from I were N and R and all these other ones, and those are all Europeans too. It's genetics can actually show you the truth of a lot of things, and it's really explained a lot to people to be able to figure out, well, who went where, what, when, because we think it's like this. They check the next genetics and they go, oh, it happened more like this. So it's really helping us out. That Whitey cracker knowledge, DNA, everything. Oh, they invented it. No, they didn't invent it. They discovered it. Just like mathematics and other things, it's a perpetual thing that we just realized was in effect. Kind of like how we figured out that the dots in the sky are actually stars far, far in the distance, and there are solar systems around each one of those, and there are galaxies, so many galaxies. As many stars as we have in our galaxy, that's how many galaxies there are. It's amazing what we found out, and amazing what black people haven't found out. But they get taught everything whatsoever. Anything that we find out, it's out there for you to learn. And they really have tried. And when you couldn't do it, they made affirmative action, just said, you're smarter than what you are. Goo fuck dumb.
We stop our natural resources, meaning our gold, our diamonds,
gold and diamonds. There is some gold in the Congo, but there's gold all over every planet or every country in the world. There's known places. I watched a video not too long ago talking about the resources and everything. There's gold all over the place. Remember the gold rush in America? So that's really not being able to go there. Diamonds, the people of where we get our diamonds from today did not have any idea what a diamond was, and they thought it was remarkable. We wanted to give them millions of dollars for these rocks. Yeah, they were at that level. It was nothing but a shiny rock. When Rhodesia was founded and they found that mine, they were going through the area seeing what they could find, and they found kids in a village playing with a diamond almost the size of a golf ball, messing around with a goat. And somebody picked that up and they go, well, bingo, what the hell? So you want to pay us how much for just these rocks? That's about what level these people were at. Well, actually, it's less than that. They'd already been propped up to get to the level of what's this rock? What did we take from Congoids that makes the world go around? I did a recent video. Frank Zeno asked this question, and it was silence, bro. It was either silence or a lie. Well, I finally found them in video, and then they claimed, well, we was the Moors. Yeah, and so I had to make a secondary on that. Of course, he's going to try it later, and I'll show the truth of that also.
Stuff that we had over there, you leached off our knowledge. Well, let me take you back to
your knowledge. So you was the smart people. You was so smart. You knew everything, and nobody else knew anything, and you were the smart people of the world. Or is this just a coping mechanism for the fact that you're the lowest IQ people on the world and the least advanced people in the world? But your blame on that is to blame Whitey. You stole it from us somehow. Wow.
At least off our knowledge, we created religion, civilization, all that stuff. So
you created religion. The Caucasian God of the Bible doesn't mention your people, and you had no religion that you'd even want to talk about nowadays. Cannibal voodoo potions and all kinds of stupid shit was going on, and everybody knows it. You know it too, but you can't keep from lying. It's disgusting to sit and watch. Yeah, but you had religion, you had civilization. How about you were the last people to become civilized, and it's still in effect today? Sub-Saharan Africans cannot make a successful civilization, even when it's given to them, and they can't maintain it, it falls apart. Shown good examples. I've got a question for you. Who gave the example to Caucasians that invented all of civilization? Egypt, Sumeria, Greece, Rome, England. Who propped them up during any of this? Well, obviously they didn't need it. They're the ones that brought us all here, but you need it so bad. A goo-goo leech.
First civilization on this earth was on the Nile River, the bottom of the Nile River.
No, it wasn't. Sumeria was the first civilization in the history of humanity. It predates Egypt coming together as one, but we're looking at before those times. When I was a kid, that's about all they gave credit for, and they didn't want to go into Sumeria too much because it exposed the Bible. But now we're finding places that are Stonehenge rings called Göbekli Tepe and 13 other sites known as the Tastapeller sites. This is right there by the Caucasus Mountains. Yeah, what Caucasians are named after, even though you'd like to claim that and not yourselves, and everybody sees that, and it's the joke of humanity. We was Egyptians, we was Bible, we wasn't ourselves. Well, let's look at what was there yourselves. Oh, they're still there, and they're incapable. But you stole it from us, the non-biblical, low IQ, primitive, go goo-goo. Is that what you want to go with, or is that the cope you have in your mind so you feel better about it?
Traveled up onto Saudi Arabia, whatever, and then they was the first one.
Saudi Arabia? You're talking about another continent over across the Red Sea. What you're trying to say is Horn of Africa area where Nubians were, the Nubian troglodytes that Egypt said couldn't come into Egypt, and then they were finally admixed and ruled over during the viceroys of Kush era, but that became a failure too, so they just left it alone. And you can look at the people we're talking about to this day and find out, well, they don't have shit going on. All they're doing is sitting around bouncing. Boing, 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 what the fuck? Now they're a leech on humanity. Billions of dollars spent across sub-Saharan Africa try to just make them subsist now. We, in our altruism, gave a bunch of medicines that we all created. You had none. You had voodoo doo-doo. So we ended up doing this for the world, but it ended up going into Africa, and now the people aren't dying. We made them wells and everything and tried to teach them to where they could have a good water supply and medicines, but this just made the population explode, but yet their brain didn't explode. They're still incapable, so now they can't even feed themselves, and somehow we feel like now we got to give our money, billions and billions, just to try to keep you alive. And that just makes the civilization thrive more, so now they can't even keep up with their own food needs, much less create a nation that's worth talking about. Hey, down in the comments, name a black country. He's going to try later with Botswana, which we could do a whole video on. Bantu City Diaries definitely points them out in one point, like they're just as screwed as all the rest of us, and it's not Whitey's fault. Thank you for helping, Whitey, but we goo all by ourselves. Fuck them. It's a waste of money to attempt to help us, and why should we be a leech on humanity? Is somebody trying to make up the idea we've got to get them up to the same IQ in that 105, 106, 107, 108 range rather than 64 plus, hopefully, if Whitey taught them something before we can continue humanity. Only knew what you were supposed to be paying attention to, and the fact that things are radically different than each other should not be put together, and sure as hell shouldn't be forced. But here we are. Or can we just continue on and Elon Musk, spaceman and everything, like they said we were going to do before the year 2000, we'd have space bases, moon bases, and already headed towards and or already living on Mars. But we've got to delay that because Leach here is drawing down humanity. And of course his answer for everything is just lies, lies, lies. You got the smarts from us. You is got smarts from us. It's funny how it's exactly opposite of anything they try to say.
Write it down. That's why they get credit for being the first civilization. But the first actual civilization was along the Nile River, at the bottom of the Nile River. Those were the same people.
It was Sumeria, but now we're finding it goes back well before. The first civilized city was Catalhoyuk. And now we're finding out with these Tastapeller sites and sites hooked up to Göbekli Tepe, which they had concrete floors in, a few of them and everything, like Karahan Tepe. Anyhow, we're finding they had domiciles there, where the original ideas was hunter-gatherers got together somehow. No, they were so much more advanced than that. Look, there's zodiacs all over these pillars that look like a Stonehenge thing, 6,000 years before even Egypt existed. And again, Sumeria predates Egypt as far as being that, so it doesn't have anything to do with Africa. Africa was named after, for, and by endemic Caucasians of North Africa. Before that time, it was all called Libya, again named after endemic Caucasians, but he can't handle that. He's going to show you the lie of all of Africa was black, right there to the edge, and then and Whitey took it from us. He's got goo-goo on the brain, and it's fucking him up.
I traveled up, went up to Saudi Arabia and all that stuff.
Okay.
So when I say leech, I mean in that y'all basically got everything y'all know and everything y'all have off of Africans.
Okay, so
like everything
so basically,
comes.
yeah, my understanding. Fair enough.
So Greece, Sumeria, the Holy Land, all of Europe, Russia, and England got all of their stuff off of pre-Neolithic minded dung hut dwellers from the Congo area that didn't know the world existed. They was so smart. Everybody's stealing their brain. Now, how is it that you came out the end of it not being able to do anything that fits into your idea? See, that ruins it there. But let's just go on, man. I mean, I'm just a few minutes into it here, and we've got 40 minutes to go.
Understanding is that everything that white people are using in the world today is a product of, in a nefarious way, going after what black people had originally. And so black people have all the tools and the knowledge and the natural resources, and they could perform just as well without the intervention of white people or European people. So a question I would have for you then, using that logic, is that what do you think the quality of life would be for black people if white people never interfered with them? Would they be better off?
Hell yeah! Do you know what we was building pyramids? Something that y'all can't figure out to this day how we built.
Black people have no idea how the pyramids were built. They just want to claim they built it. We've got quite a few good ideas of how it's built, but the reason that we have that, woo over the whole idea and people want to say ancient aliens as things, is because it looks like they popped up like popcorn out of nowhere, and we're doing advanced stonework and things, and they knew so much about the cosmos and all kinds of things, the solstices of times and everything like that they popped up and built a pyramid. These were all Caucasians, many of which had blue eyes, as they show by their own statues and things going through the time, and description. The Wadjet eye. Wadjet means blue-green or blue. So it's these people, these Caucasians with blue eyes, many of which had blonde and red hair. Yes, even the pre-dynastic people. The earliest mummy we've got for there is a pre-dynastic blonde-haired Ghibellin mummy that they call Ginger. But they want to take that away because Ginger's kind of mean against redheads. Yeah, but anyhow, named Ginger. He's in the British Museum, and he's not black. He had tattoos on him, sacred, and all this stuff that goes on. And of course, the first dynasties all the way through. And I've done videos showing you all these different people. And it's not like some sub-Saharans snuck in and became a pharaoh. But they want that idea. Like Mentuhotep. Well, they'll show Mentuhotep in a Ka statue, and they go, see, he's black. That's a Ka statue. Do you know anything about Egypt and its symbology? Or are you too busy lying and trying to make yourself feel better on a cope mechanism to say, here's a black man that snuck in somehow? They didn't allow the Nubians. That was the only people that even knew Egypt existed. None of the other sub-Saharans show up. By the way, this is the point I guess we mentioned. Congoids, the people that you come from, never knew Egypt existed, or the Khoisan or Nubians or anything until well after. And that happened during the late Bantu expansion, where they came across and oppressed the pygmies there, which they still do and consume to this day. Just wiki pygmies. It won't tell you lies. And then instead of keep going over and run into Egypt, you couldn't even do that. You found the Khoisan and you chased them south down into the Cape area where they never were previously. And that's where you get any connection to even knowing this existed. Before then, you were only in the Congo, not sneaking around. You didn't know who the Moors ever were. You didn't even know North Africa existed. The world knows all this. Don't get all cocky and say stupid shit. The world's laughing when you do it. You can see a few times here, the guys try to compose themselves, but you try to make lies and everything, and they grin like, yep, I've heard that one before and stuff like that, but then they try to keep a straight face. Even says down in their comments, how do they keep a straight face through this? It's hilariously sad to watch. You owe me, Whitey. You owe me, Blackie here. You owe us all for a domestication fee that's not even over yet. We've still got a long way to go. You're at section 1B now, trying to get to 1C. and it's going to be 160,000 years, they figured out, before you might be able to get on the same route unless severe admix is done, which just takes you out of the whole situation. And then after they did that, the guy said, in 160,000 years, they'll be equal to what we are now? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, yeah, but we'll be Star Trek by them, zoom, zoom, all over the planet. So when is that going to happen? And the guy just dropped his pen and said, never.
But black people didn't build the pyramids, though. Those were Coptic people. Those were Coptic people.
You said they were who?
Coptic. They're North African. They're Semitic Arabs.
Those were Coptic people. They're Caucasoid.
So listen to what I'm saying.
Go ahead.
No, listen to what I'm saying real quick. The Egyptians. I've done enough videos to choke a horse. I've done enough video to choke a herd of elephants out of the fact that they're all Caucasians. You ask ChatGPT, and it'll tell you straight out. Here's a clip right here, which I'll put over the top of it, showing you that the closest people to the ancient Egyptians were ancient Anatolians. Why do they say ancient Anatolians? Well, it's because the demographic changed in that area. Now it's called Turkey because the Turkish people came in, so the demographics changed. But genetics has all said, yeah, these are the same people, but who's the closest modern analog to where the ancient Egyptians were? And it's Western Europeans. It's amazing. You know, a few years ago when they found out King Tut's haplogroup R1b and so was Akhenaten and everything, that's over half of Western Europe. And it gets higher, and 60-70% looking at France and things. And then it gets up to 90% in Ireland. So, oh wow. Well, how many Congoid haplogroups have ever been found out of the Congo? 0. During the time in question, 0. How many ever in Egypt? You're not listening. 0. 0. We was, 0. You make yourself into the joke of humanity. We was. It's hilarious.
So before the Arab invasion of between 600 BC, everybody in Africa was black. So yeah, you could talk about the Arabs or the white people who took over Egypt after 600 BC, but before that, everybody was black. They was built.
Everybody was black. There weren't any endemic North African Caucasians. The one that named it Africa itself. Yeah, there weren't any of that. Congoids want to pretend that they were everywhere. They were all over the place. And then they say we about anybody else that's got melanin. They feel like it's a definite white against black. Well, none of it contains Congoids. So it's a moot point. But you're the one saying the shit because you can't handle reality. You're sitting around mooching off the spaceman and you realize, I better make up something to make me feel better, or I realize I owe Whitey for everything past stick. So I goo dum we was Egyptians, all of Africa was black, right there to the Nile Delta, and then white people happened after that. No, he's not going to go with that. He's going to say in a few minutes that just a few generations ago, white people popped up like popcorn, and they have been around since 45,000 BC in Cro-Magnon and covering the whole of Europe and the Middle East and everything. No, and all of North Africa and Egypt through the Horn at one time. Look up Caucasian race and it'll go, oh, they're ruining they is lions, they is lying. And it's like, well, which one is lying here? Look at the desperate liar. How sadly self-exposing.
Pyramids. They had all type of religion. They had all that stuff. All that stuff started way before y'all came, way before the Arabs came. North Africa was black.
There's zero anthropological or archaeological evidence that points to sub-Saharan Africans. Look up who?
African is African. Black is black. Look up Dexter Cappy.
No, African isn't African.
African's not African if you think African means sub-Saharans. See, that's the reason there's a definite nomenclature as far as sub-Saharans or North Africa. Because North Africa and around the Mediterranean have always been Caucasians. Around the Mediterranean, there's no border, no wall, nothing that kept them out. What kept the Congoids in the Congo is that they were afraid of lions and tigers and bears, oh my, or anything that was out there. And they were just in a little haven area that nobody knew existed, and they never evolved or advanced themselves. In fact, we have Iholero showing there's still an archaic hominid idea, and that pans out with genetics, where they've came out recently and said that up to 19% of the genetics of Congoids is from an archaic human type or a hominid type, something Homo erectus or earlier that was still extant in the Congo. And you can see what Iholero looks like. But then they were admixed by people that have E1b genetics, Caucasians from North Africa. Later than that, about 4,400 BC, and all of a sudden pops up the earliest modern form of Negroids. See, there's another distinction between Sub-Saharan Africa and North Africa. These are Negroids, and we can tell the racial difference simply. Someone could look at a skull that knows what they're doing, and in seconds they can easily see the nasal sill, all kinds of things shows you. That's how, things work in police, where they found a dead body or a skeleton, they can go, well, it was a white woman. They can tell just as easy as like that. It's Whitey Cracker magic. Yeah, so he's trying to keep from smiling here. And he's just wondering what's going through your mind to try to justify it. He's trying to go your way, and you can't even keep it straight.
Are you crazy? So what is Africa? 2 different countries?
Well, let me ask you this: no, it's a continent. First of all, is Nigeria the same as Somalia?
It's 2 different things. South Africa is different from North Africa.
Okay,
Definitely. There's Caucasians are endemic to North Africa, and Sub-Saharan Africa is a bunch of primitives. Now, the Cape there was pretty much no one staying there, and the Dutch and the Boers came in and made a beautiful country, which was all going great till they let the primitives that were wearing Goodwill clothes on the other side of a fence into apartheid. Notice they never did try to build their own nation in any way. What they wanted to do was leech off Whitey. You talked about leech earlier, and I think you're going to do it again, but leech off Whitey. Well, South Africa is a shadow of its former self. They can't keep the water going good. Portions of the city don't have electricity, but during parts of the day, because they can't maintain anything. And that's with still white people being there trying to help keep it from falling all apart. But yeah, it's disgusting what's happened down there. You should look into it much further, so you wouldn't have that lie again come out your butthole mouth.
It was all one black people.
Well, 1 second. Really, I just want to make sure.
Not saying it was one.
I just want to make sure we're on the same page. So, is Nigeria or Nigerian people distinct from Ethiopian people? Are they different, or are they exactly the same?
Back then, it wasn't. Now they are, because now they.
Back then, they wasn't. No, back then they were. Egyptologist 7 has done a few videos showing the genetics of all these people, so they would quit trying to use this lie. Because the genetics of East Africans is not related to the Khoisan or Pygmies, and surely not the faraway Congoids there that are trying to claim this. You ever notice it's only the Congoids who can't handle reality? They feel so envious being around the spaceman heralds that created 98.6% of everything around them, and no, it didn't come from blacks. They don't have any evidence of anything there. A pre-Neolithic people that never picked up 2 stones, much less all the advances that has come since that. But let's see what he thinks in his goo-goo mind.
People have Arab blood in them, European blood in them. That's why they lighter, they have straight hair, all that. But back before, like I'm trying to tell y'all, back before the invasion of the Arabs and the Europeans, Arabs invaded first in 600 BC. Before 600 BC, so that means 598 BC, all the way back to the beginning of the time, everybody in Africa was black, dark skinned.
You don't understand how BC works. If they came at 600 and you say before that, it'd be 601 BC, 602, it wouldn't go under to 598. That's what you do in a positive numeral situation. not a negative numeral situation. BC is going back negative. That's before Christ, the Christian God that doesn't mention your people. That was a Caucasian described as having Caucasian features. And then, of course, this all comes from the Caucasians that are endemic in that region. But I've done a recent video where they try to claim we was the Hebrews. We weren't ourselves. We was Egyptians. We wasn't ourselves. How sad. 600 BC. So Cleopatra and everything, we can go from there. That's the end of Egypt pretty much. Rome took over and so on. But before that, they were always Caucasians. Always Caucasians. 601 BC, Caucasians. 701, 801, 2000, 3000, 5000, 7000. Yeah, the papers I've used in Egyptologist 7 is used a few times, showing you 7,000 years of genetic continuity between the Egyptians, all the way through. Urset subprim coming out of Congo that is more than twice the width of America itself across an impassable desert. Oh, guess what? In the Green Sahara, before it ever turned into a desert, Caucasians. Yeah, there are many genetic papers and things that have come out over this, and the archaeological papers, and it even states directly in there they didn't mix with any people. They didn't That wasn't going on at that time. Cave of the Swimmers shows whitey Caucasians looking like mermaids swimming around with whales in that Libyan cave that was shown in the movie the English Patient. Yeah, but look at it yourself and everything. And there's a white whale in there too, which kind of gives the idea of Moby Dick. But talking about dick tuggers running around in hominid jungle go goo goo, what are you going to try to say now?
Some was brown. Like, we have different shades of black people. Like, the San people, right? They look like Chinese people.
They look like that because of admix very, very early. And they're a whole lot older than you. But you want to say we, whenever you've already just fallen apart. You weren't part of any of this. And you want to say they were all the same whenever everybody in the world knows that they're not. There's no continuity between Africa and even just any of the countries. And of course, Congoids captured and sold their own people off like unwanted for beads and alcohol and so on. But that was going on all over before Whitey ever showed up. It's their way. They keep talking about slavery. It still goes on there to this day. Whitey's the one that stopped it. At least in third world countries, or in first world countries who stopped it, it still goes on in third world countries.
Question for you. I have a question for you. And we can be fair. We'll go back and forth. We'll be cordial here. But basically what you're saying is that white people's ability to thrive is dependent upon the exploitation of black people or other people. So what would be, okay, so that's your opinion. What would be an example, a modern example of a nation of black people who are succeeding or thriving without white or European intervention?
He's not going to be able to mention one. I think this is where he puts Botswana out there. And Botswana is not a thriving nation at all. It's a third world country. And didn't they just have a problem with their leaders and everything, just like always happens in sub-Saharan Africa? Because they're trying to mimic a Caucasian civilization and they're incapable. Is shown directly by Bantu City Diaries and Frank Sanu and reality itself. Or, it's not racist. Or, it's reality. You got to look into it sometime because everybody else is looking at you, dollar store nappy head here, who can't handle reality whatsoever. But you is smarts now.
Where's that? Botswana. Okay, and how are they thriving?
But you asked me that question.
How are they thriving? Don't try to go off in left field. Explain to us how they're thriving because you were given it and you just easily spit out the answer. It's not Congo, it's Botswana. So they were able to do something, not you. So, okay, what did they do? How are they thriving?
They paid off all their loans, but let me tell you, bro.
Loans from Whitey? Let me tell you, bro. You got goo fuck dumb on the brain. Yeah, lack of frontal lobe. Prefrontal cortex not working good. Computer program error. Syntax.
Africa, you know what's happening with France? You know what's happening with France? They kicked, not Botswana, but I think South Africa, one of the countries in Africa, they kicked France out of, this is why I say y'all leech off Africa. They kicked France out of Africa, so France can't leech off Africa no more. Guess what's happening with France right now? They're going broke. All the European countries are going broke right now because y'all can't.
We're going broke because we're spending billions of dollars for gender studies in Iran. Yeah, we just caught our own people, the Democrats, having made all these bills where it's got all this bullshit attached onto it, and we've got to spend billions of dollars like Superman to fix everybody's problem, including your people, which have been propped up more than any people ever in the history of humanity. Yeah, so incapable says what?
Off Africa no more. Africa,
European countries are struggling because they're experiencing waves of immigration and non-white people who are committing sexual assault against Native Europeans. That's the opposite.
You know why?
But where are the...
Yeah, if you put third worlders in a first world country, you're trying to ruin that country because there's a reason they're third worlders and they can't do it. And it's not like they're supposed to come over and learn and then go back. We already tried that bullshit. So it's just a blatant ruin, and a lot of people have woke up to the fact now, who's trying to make sure we get ruined? Has something to do with the small hat people, but let's go.
Excuse me, where are the black people that are thriving outside of European influence?
Botswana did. You do your research, look up Botswana.
Compared to what? Compared to China? Compared to...
I'm going to look up Botswana here and give you some ideas. I'll see if I can't find a little clip of Bandit City Diaries giving you the paper readout on what it is in Botswana. I'm sure everybody else in the world says Botswana. They can't do shit. Are they the ones that boing, boing, boing around and can't keep civilization going there? You know, when the French got kicked out, as you talk about, they left a civilization that was already set up with its infrastructure, and that's all decayed to ruin because Chim Chim can't run anything but his mouth. And the world knows it. It's become the joke of humanity. On one of my vids, I recently had a Korean guy going, how do y'all put up with this? We saw it was a joke before I was even born, and we just look at it as being a sad joke that they're so jealous they can't handle reality. Wow.
America, this is not a superpower in the world, in the geopolitical stage.
This is what I'm telling you. You cannot compare Africa to the world because nobody has been leached off like Africa has.
Everybody has attacked each other throughout history.
Let me finish what I'm saying real quick.
Let me finish what I'm saying. I want to talk over you. I just made up something stupid, so you're going to make me feel stupid, so you're going to show the world I'm stupid, so I'm going to try to say something else. You leached off Negroids and learned everything, and that's the reason the world has guns and spaceships is because of goo fuckdom.
It's either to say, they're not doing nothing now. I guess not. You've been robbing them for 400 years. How could you?
So before 400 years, Botswana had pyramids in it? Before 400 years, they had a thriving civilization and cities and written language? Did they? Did they have anything? So they've been ripping off 400 years. You know, Black Flag used this 400 years. We were in slavery for 400 years. Well, when does that kick off? Like 1619. So up until 2019, you were slaves? Mentally in your own mind because goo fuck dumb can't handle reality? Shitmouth.
Expect somebody to be up just like you, but you're the one been leeching off them, robbing them for 400 years. That's like me robbing you every day when you come off your job, and then coming back a week later saying, why are you still on the bottom? Why are you still struggling?
You know, down in the comments, it's they repeatedly stated that, isn't it ironic? They talk about stealing every day and somebody stole from them. Yeah, how blind to the fact of reality could they possibly be that their problem is the crime? Of course, we're going to get into that in a little while, and he doesn't understand per capita, and he's blaming it on Whitey again with his little prognatic poking out butthole mouth. Let's enjoy the goo-goo of fuckdom.
Well, you took all my money. You took everything I have. You robbed me. You killed me. You raped me. You did all these things.
To you, a Congoid? It happened to you? You've been alive for 400 years? Or are you just so stupid you're trying to point at any other people that aren't white and then say, Whitey did bad? Because those countries want there to be colonizers back. The country that killed off all the farmers are asking for the white farmers to come back because they can't even maintain the farm equipment when they themselves used to actually be outdated farm equipment. Yeah, picking cotton badly has really become the most expensive commodity ever on the history of Earth.
Me, and then you turn around and ask why are we in the position that we in? Because the reason why is because you put us in that position. It's like I said,
you can't get yourself out of position. If you're the incredible spaceman everybody on Earth learned from, then you should be able to do something that would just bypass it. Botswana, people don't know where the fuck that is. They should have 100 pyramids and downtown looks like Las Vegas or Tokyo. What we have is a bunch of shit shacks. And that's just from taking apart all the Caucasian stuff like sheds that were built and making a shed world. Yeah, and if there's any advance there, roads, cars, any of the modern things that are there, it's because Caucasians keep trying to prop you up. While we should probably quit because you're blaming us for everything that ever happened to you, and we stole it from you when you're lying and trying to steal it from everybody else, and the world knows it. It's become the joke meme of humanity. By your own hands.
Left us alone, we would have been ahead of time. Me personally, I think we would have been too.
Left you alone, you'd be in spaceships running all around and goo fuckdom, wouldn't you?
Communicating with other life forms now.
Well, if I
communicating with other life forms now, so this has got to be, we would be space prims. We would be going around like Star Trek. Well, no, the Caucasians would be doing that if we actually made America first and quit giving away billions of dollars to third world countries, and basically so they won't come here. So we're propping up countries all around the world, and you say we're stealing from them. How sad. We're explaining to them what this rock is, and no, bad Whitey who invented gold, bad Whitey who invented everything around the world. Well, how about Prim Goak? You can't realize how stupid it looks when it says these sad lies. It's beyond pathetic.
if I were you, I would probably feel grateful that I was born in America versus Africa, because your life is likely a lot better than it would be if you were born in Ghana or wherever it is.
South Africa, right?
Well, here's the question.
No, South Africa is from Caucasians. So you'd be in the Congo, still running around fuck dumb goo-goo. If we would have just said no to the whole concept, you would still be running around fuck dumb goo-goo, and the altruistic white man would be trying to prop you up and get you up to levels. That was what happened years ago, or many, many years ago, when they were trying to make you be able to trade something other than your own people off as unwanted. Can you make a jug at least that's sellable to these other places? Pottery? No. Google fuck them. I can't. And they would sell slaves away for beads and alcohol or less. One guy gave his hat away. He had a Lafayette hat. They wanted the hat so bad he gave him 15 slaves for a hat. Worse than that, they gave more away to a mirror. They had never seen a thing like a mirror, and when they showed him a mirror, the guy was dancing around. He couldn't believe that he could see the reflection off of it, and they kept looking at the back of the mirror. It's got a magic portal on it. He wanted that mirror so bad, he gave like 50 slaves away, 50 people's lives away for a fucking mirror. because they had no idea what world is. Count on finger, I dumb, I incapable.
Because you're saying the reason why sub-Saharan Africa.
How did America get to where it was?
Well, hold on.
Who created America?
America got to the way it was by Caucasians that already had civilization way well before. I mean, Europe was already doing this. Everybody knows about the Greeks leading to the Romans and everything. Beautiful cathedrals and all civilization, farming, everything, domesticated animals and so on. This has nothing to do with subprim go goo-goo. It has nothing to do with you whatsoever. You've just been a leech this whole time. Yeah, outdated farm equipment. Yeah, and we built, I'm sure in his mind he thinks they built America. When they didn't know how to build anything, how could they have? Well, they didn't. That's been proven repeatedly. Picking cotton badly and then being an outdated farm equipment that needs to go back to its original country because you're causing such a burden on humanity by even being around or existing. Abraham Lincoln said when he freed the slaves, they'd all have to go back because there's too great a difference between the heralds of civilization trying to make this great thing up, and it would be and primitives who goo fucked up. And so they basically all have to go back, and they got Liberia in 1822. So a real short time here. 1776, Declaration of Independence, but then we had to have a Revolutionary War. And right after we came out of the Revolutionary War, one of the first things we did was outlaw slavery. No more imports. Now, what are we going to do with the people that are here? Well, they're all going to have to go back to Liberia to liberate them from the problem here. Well, it's not really a problem. It was they got to hang around spacemen on Star Trek for a little while, and they just can't handle reality. Well, they already did send a group back to Liberia, but they became the cannibal warlords of Liberia. But you can fix that when you get there because you is so smarts now. It needs to be all of you, too. We can't pick and choose. We can't keep the basketball players because we like basketball, or keep Neil deGrasse Tyson because he's smart now, because you're going to need people like that to try to help you out, because people like yourselves aren't going to be able to help out anything.
Well, are we going to go back and forth? You gotta let me ask you a question. I just want to make sure we're on the same page here.
Yeah, we've had a little bit of problem with interrupting, and he doesn't like it, and this, that, and the other. So in a minute they're going to go into, let's talk for 30 seconds and 30 seconds, but of course that falls apart real quick. Blacks have a problem with interrupting. You ever been to a movie and there's blacks in there? Oh, don't go there. Oh, you better run. They start yelling and talking and things like that. Everybody knows it. And of course, if blacks are facing something, they just start talking. They don't want to talk about that, so they just start talking. Blame Whitey, and it's the joke of humanity, too. It's one of those things, the tics that they have. They can't let anybody talk. They'll say they're having a conversation, but what they're doing is interrupting you while you're trying to talk and fuck it up. And then when they talk, you can't interrupt them at all, and they've got to get through their lie. So to self-expose. Then when you try to ask him a question back like that, like he's referring to now, this guy over here, which I believe is Fro, and that's Jax, you can't handle that. And so you've got to interrupt them. You've got to ruin both sides of the conversation constantly because I can't handle reality.
You answering your question with my question. You said I should be grateful that I'm born in America.
That wasn't a question. I said if I...
That wasn't a question. That was a statement that the world knows. The best place blacks have ever been in the history of humanity is around leeching off white people. Everybody knows it. Slavery, oh, it's so bad. Yeah, really? It's the best thing that ever happened to you. Oh, yeah, and you can try to make up all this shit about why you did. And you want to make up a bunch of lies. Fuck dumb, stupid lies.
How did America get to where that for
we
the
have to go back. We have to be balanced here, though. Let's go back and forth. All I was saying, it wasn't a question. I was just saying, if I was you, that's how I would probably feel. But again, that's an unfair me putting me in your shoes. Anyway, my question to you would be, if Africa is the state that it is because we've leached off of it, how come it was in effectively the same state, arguably worse than it is now when we first got there? European.
Oh boy, when we showed up, it was dung huts and goo-goo, and they couldn't count on their fingers. Oh yeah, but you're gonna butt in real quick. Oh, Whitey stole it from us.
Colonists, as you would put it, they got there, and there wasn't even written languages in most of the countries below the Sahara Desert.
Or wheels, or second-story buildings.
Yeah, they were very underdeveloped. When we got there, that's not a lie.
That's a lie.
That's scientifically.
Y'all came when the European came to Africa in when the transatlantic trade started in 1409. Am I right?
Something like that, yeah.
So during that time, you had black people like Mansa Musa, who was the richest person in the history of.
He tried to keep a straight face, but Mansa Musa has been blown out of the water. It's actually a joke. It's a mythical story where a black man sold so many slaves and killed so many elephants that he got rich. And then what did he decide to do with all his money? He decided to go to Islam and blow money there. And the idea is he blew so much money there, he devalued gold for 100 years because he fucked dumb goo and went around trying to pimp at the titty bars and blew all his damn money. It's not looked at as being real good. Robert Seffer and a few others have made videos showing you that, wow, so these maps that are of that same exact area right previous to that are showing Caucasian people in that exact same situation where Mansa Musa is. Then all of a sudden one painted black, then white again. How does that work out? This is also, we was Mansa Musa and not ourselves. Where did Mansa Musa come from? The Congo? No. Well, then it has nothing to do with we. We're still left with Congo go goo goo. You have nothing to do with the pair of the pygmies that you still oppress and consume to this day, Wicked. And you aren't helping out humanity in any way, shape, or form. You're just a leech. You said leech 20 times starting out the conversation, but everybody knows who the leech is. He's trying to keep a straight face here so you won't get mad.
In the history of the world, period. So you can't sit there and say that, oh, they was undeveloped and all this stuff until y'all came over there. They had...
Just because one guy was rich after capturing and selling his own people off as unwanted doesn't mean the rest of the culture wasn't goo-goo fuck dumb stick. In fact, that's what the world knows. All archaeology has gone out there trying to prove it wrong, like surely they had something. No, they didn't. Anything that you mention has nothing to do with Congo. I have a current troll on my channel telling me we was Timbuktu, and of course I proved that wrong. He just keeps getting bitch slapped constantly. He comes in blaming white people for his low IQ and then saying he is smarts now, and he turned around and, like you're going to do later, say that everybody used to be black and all kinds of stupid things that you've got in your brain that would make you feel better in your copium.
Stuff going on. They had...
Like what?
They had a lot of...
Like what?
Going on. They was making money. They was doing what they do in their culture. Just
like
because
what?
It's not your culture, listen to what I'm saying. Your culture, just because something is not your culture, doesn't mean that they are less than or below than you because they choose to live in huts or whatever. That's what they want to do.
So you're admitting to they lived in doo-doo huts that's not a house, not over one story, and that's what they choose to do. Well, funny they're not living in huts now in all of the colonized places. You can still find blacks living in dung huts to this day. There are even old, recent, pretty much, not old, videos in color and everything of them building their little dung huts and living in the jungle and not having any of the modern things of it and everything. But you're trying to pretend we was goo-goo doo-doo. Look at that lip, butthole mouth.
You have to let people live their life.
I'm not comparing it. I'm just asking.
Yes, you should all go back and they can live their life. They can live their life. Well, guess what? We're willing to send you back so you can live their life and quit being a mooch leech on Caucasians. You're forcing the hand of Americans to end up doing that because you can't handle reality. You've got all this fucked up in the brain shit and you're not helping anybody. You're a leech mooch on civilization, so you need to go back anyhow. Take the basketball players with you. You can tell them we was kings and we invented everything. Whitey stole it all from us. You can just make up the stupidest thing. If we hear it too much from afar, we'll bomb you like we do Iran and set you back to the Stone Age. You'll be like, well, you're the greatest thing in the world. Climb out of that fucking hole.
Ready for more than a holiday? Let Carnageville Cruise Lines take you on a one-way journey to sunny Liberia. Soak in sunshine that feels personal. Build memories that last.
Hey, yeah, see that like button? Could you, click it? Thanks! Bye!
A fragrance from deepest Africa. Dung.
Customs.
Let me
They
respond
don't
to you,
want to.
though.
They
Let
might
me
not.
respond to you.
They might. Can I finish what I'm saying, please?
We gotta go back and forth here. Like I'm asking specifically,
No, Robert,
We got to have a conversation, not you just making up stupid.
hey, what do they have going on? What do they have going on?
I'm talking though.
Go ahead.
What I'm trying to tell you is that you have to let other people live in their custom. Just because it's not your custom doesn't mean that it's less than or worse than.
Have you noticed that's why we haven't taken the headhunters of Irian Jaya or the primitives are on Sentinel Island and even try to have contact with them because we don't want to fuck things up. It's like the Star Trek directive. When you find prims on a planet, you're not supposed to show up because you'll become their religion. Yeah, and it's even shown in one of the Star Trek movies where they were trying to steal this thing and they got caught and then the people made their religion out of it. So we don't want to have that happen. It was the big mistake, the big difference between all this, because everybody in the world had slavery. Yeah, would you believe more than 70% of black women think that they're the only people that ever got enslaved? How fucking stupid is that? But Caucasians doing this, going on, creating civilization or do whatever has nothing to do with the bullshit that you're talking about now. Colonization's been the best thing that ever happened to you. Bantu City Diaries says it straight out and wishes it happened for longer and you could come back and do it more. But trying to get white people to do that's going to be a problem. We have that directive now where you're not supposed to mess with primitive people. See, that's what the whole difference is here. Is there's a goo-goo dum-dum people given the same amount of time of growth in humanity, hundreds of thousands of years, really didn't do anything compared to these other people. It's because they're incapable. And so if you take those and put them on other people's land and let them be a mooch leech on you, it's just a negative to your situation. There's nothing going to help you. And nothing says that we, as being a Superman, should take all the third worlders of the world into America and try to ruin it, whenever that's never been the ideal. Until recently, Biden tried to do this, putting millions into the United States. What a fucking problem.
You might not want to live in a mansion or whatever. It's billionaires in Africa. It's like, bro, if Africa was so sucky or so terrible, why the hell are y'all over there now?
Our altruistic nature makes us to where we want to help people out. It's that, aw, a puppy's starving. And so whenever I was a kid, they had all these commercials showing you black people with pooted out bellies and everything. Can't you help them? Won't you help them? They can't help themselves. They can't even feed themselves. Mooch leech, mooch leech.
That's what I'm trying to
all
understand.
cultures
Y'all
equal?
are all over South Africa, living good in the nice hotels, in the buildings and all that stuff. Y'all are over there. If we suck so much, get the hell out the land.
Well, let me
Stop
ask you.
Y'all suck so much. Get the hell off the land. Let's put that back at you, man. Y'all suck so much. Get the hell off our land. Look, you get a free boat ride back and everything. Your own country. It's called Liberia. You can turn around and make that into Wakanda. You can try to get somebody to believe you was kings at one time. Whitey stole all your information, even though I don't have any information now. I fucked them goo-goo. The most propped up people ever in humanity, but can't show it. Get the hell out of our country.
Others go back to your land and do what you say
Okay,
you're
you're
smart
talking.
enough to
You're
do.
talking a lot. We gotta go back and forth. So, here.
Yeah, we're smart enough to realize that we're wasting money on sub-Saharan Africans. They have a cognitive problem, a non-developed prefrontal cortex. It's what held them down for the 700,000 years of coming out of Homo erectus into their modern form. Everybody else on the planet, well, let's talk about the other races, Orientals and Caucasians, are easily able to do this. Orientals do more of a mimicking type thing, but they're very industrious and they can make everything that you did smaller and for cheaper, because you're going to pay white people a lot more than Chinese, and we're going to fuck them over making Chinese shoes so black people can play basketball and think they did something. When Shaq found that out, he said, can we do this some other way so I don't look like a hypocrite? Anyhow, Google fucked them.
I'm sensing that you're upset about it. And if I thought...
I'm not really upset. It's just how I talk.
Well, if I thought that my people were being oppressed historically and systemically, I would probably be upset too. Let me ask you this. If I were to just grant everything, if I were to say sub-Saharan Africa and even Africa as a whole has been colonized, ruined, raped, pillaged, sucked dry of its resources, and that's exactly the reason why it's in the state and condition it is now. Black Americans are systemically oppressed historically. Now that we live in modern society, you're a black person in America, I'm guessing. You're speaking American English.
Yeah.
So I guess at this point, historical injustice can't be undone. What is preventing black people in Africa and in America even now from...
It's not. You know how good...
Nothing preventing you, but you're incapable. All the countries of sub-Saharan Africa are the ruin. The entire Congo doesn't put out enough GMP to compete with the little island of Taiwan. All of the Democratic Republic of Congo, your people, where you came from, incapable. They got something going on. Most of that has been propped up through Whitey's to where you can have some trade that's worth anything. It's disgusting to pick it apart. Let's continue.
We're doing right now. You know how many Africa the fastest. Every time I say something, y'all try to cut me off.
Okay.
Every time I say something, you try to cut me off. It's funny because every time they say something, you try to cut them off or change the subject. And you'd like to talk about that for the next 5 minutes instead of answering their question, trying to come up with something goo-goo in your brain that you could try to blame Whitey for.
The fastest growing country right now that's going on today. They about to get their own internet to where they don't even have to depend off of U.S. internet at all because they.
Look at them holding back the laughter. If they get the internet, the Caucasian invented computerized thing, they're probably going to do it off of Elon Musk's satellites. Now, he's the most rich person ever in sub-Saharan Africa, and of course he's a South African who lives in America now, making electric cars of the future, making tunneling systems of the future, making all of our spaceships of the future. Meanwhile, Chimgo Ook, I've got a clip of a video trying to show whenever they found out in sub-Saharan Africa that Whitey was going to the moon, they took a couple of trash cans and put people in it and rolled it down the hill and played on their swing sets saying that they were going to go to the moon. They're ready now. Of course, there's no rocket engine or anything going on off that. And they were going to send a girl and some cats. Only problem is that girl ended up getting pregnant, but they didn't know which one was the dad because she was getting tagged by all of them because of your incredible nature. And have they still not gone to the moon? No. Well, if they did, it would be having to leech off Whitey and try to mimic and see if they can do things. And of course, they don't build cars. They don't build anything of technology. They're just not known for it. Because why? Because they never had it before, can't understand it, or even maintain it to the point that it keeps going when given to them.
They have their own. They don't have it yet, but they're getting their own internet called.
They're getting Boost Mobile.
Afronet.
They're getting Metro. They're getting Metro PCS. I heard.
No, it's Afronet. It's their own.
Look at them trying to hold back. They're gonna get their own internet. So I is now got Whitey gun. So now I all of a sudden is smarts now. I go goo. We gonna have internet. We ain't got it now, but we're gonna have it. And when we have it, it's cause we was kings. Now we got Whitey stuff. I fucked them goo.
Where they don't have to rely on no U.S. because they used to have to rely on Google and get their internet from the U.S. But it was taking them.
They still do. In fact, they're going to rely on Elon Musk's satellites that he puts up whenever your thing tries to happen here and everything that you're talking about. So they're still relying on Whitey, and they couldn't invent anything. It's electronics. It's really beyond you. Unless Whitey teaches you about it, and then you're still not making the newest technology or things, it's because you don't have it within you and never did. But Whitey stole it from you, right? That's why Whitey knows computer. I've got a clip where a black guy says the Congoid drums invented Morse code, and Morse code invented computers. Therefore, Whitey got computers from Congoids playing the drums. Do you believe how foolish that fucking sounds?
Long to come all the way over there to fix it. So now they said, fuck that, whatever, we do our own shit.
I want
so
Africa to flourish.
Internet. They got tech companies. Like, it's booming over there.
No, they ain't got no tech companies. It's not booming over there now. It's blowing up, boof, right in their face right now. Anything they try to do does that, and that's while being propped up hundreds of billions of dollars every year by Whitey. You notice blacks aren't getting their money together and propping up anybody, even their own people back in the Congo. All these basketball players ended up being worth hundreds of millions of dollars, if not more, and very few of them, there are a few that have, but very few of them do anything whatsoever to even help out where they came from. They'd rather be the leech mooch and why do you owe me basketball in a Whitey game that was created by Whitey. Yeah, just like the scoreboard that runs off electronics and everything, the light bulbs inside of it. The idea of counting, the idea of a three-pointer and everything. You know, that game had to be changed so blacks could actually compete into it because it used to be a shooter's game and you weren't able to dunk. The best thing you could do was a layup. But so we've just pretty much given that to y'all. We're like, here, you'll entertain us.
Yeah, that's why, and China is investing in it so much because it's like what China was 30 years ago. That's what Africa is now. It's
wow, what China was 30 years ago. That's what sub-Saharan Africa is now. I think everyone in the world, including your own people, would agree that's the stupidest thing come out of your goo-goo mouth yet today. Well, most of them would also say Whitey stole it from us and we got brain, we as smarts was probably second best. It's a real debate there. Put down in the comments which one do you think wins. I might put a little poll down in there and stuff and do it. But China 30 years ago was doing all kinds of incredible things, and that's not happening in sub-Saharan Africa. And if it's attempted, it's because Whitey's coming and trying to teach you how to make a well that'll have water where you won't get rid of viral parasites. You know, the lowest life expectancy on the planet is sub-Saharan Africa because goo fuckdom.
It's going to be the new power country. So it's already happening.
Let me ask you this, because one of the things we were discussing earlier was a matter of comparing cultures, and you said it's not better, one or the other isn't better, it's just different. Do you believe that all cultures are equal?
It's different. Like they think their culture is better than yours. You think your culture better than them. It's just an opinion. If somebody's happy, want to live in a hut and live in a mud house or whatever, they might be the happiest person in the world. They choose to live there.
So, are you saying dung huts is equal to spaceships? We just want you to say that out loud. That there's no difference between dung hut dwelling, low IQ, prim, got frontal lobe problem. There's no difference between that and the Caucasian Heralds of Space, man. Computerized world that created 98.6% of everything around us today. That's the same. Now, Whitey did it in his altruism, said, no, we never said that. We're going to treat you as the same. So if we've got a law that says you go to jail, you will too. We're going to treat you just the same. We're not going to do anything stupid. like you're thinking.
If they'll get tired of that and choose not to want to live there, they'll go to. It's plenty cities in Africa that got major mansions, homes, hotels. Like it's beautiful
Built by colonization.
there. Now I'm not saying the whole Africa, but
So
it's
they're not
places
equal,
over
you're
there.
saying?
Huh?
You're saying so they're not equal because they're different.
I didn't say they're not equal. I'm saying they
said
think
they're
they're better,
different.
so they might be better. They might be better.
But you said
They
they're
might
different.
be better.
Whitey might be better than subprim dung hut gogugu, the non-biblical recent primitive. Well, the world knew that already. Yes. And you want to be around Whitey than yourself and your own people. Any black person that gets rich, the first thing they think of doing is moving out from around black people because, damn.
Eyes.
Sure, they might be better, but you're saying they're different, which means they aren't the
different.
same.
Everybody's different.
Equal means the same.
No, they're not the same. No, equal means. Equal means like the same.
Right.
Equal means like the same. You could put it as the same, but equal means like this equals that. Like one equals like
I can't cognate. I got dum dum goo goo. You caught me. I'm trying to say we're all equal, but I can't because I know we're not. We're leech mooch off Whitey. We'd rather be around Whitey. We don't want to go back to Africa. No, you need to. You need to go back into the oven and cook a little longer, a couple of 100,000 years, and then maybe you'll be able to still be third. Whoopsie. It's just reality, guys. It's reality that prims aren't spacemen. Shouldn't it be? Or should you take prims and shove them in space, put them in new clothes? What do you think?
Yeah, trying to explain it, but yeah, I guess you could relate that as equal, but I'm looking at it as far as a value wise. Equal as you talking about value wise, meaning that this equals this, like $1 equals $1, or that's what I'm talking about.
So who creates more value, white people or black people, globally?
Well, before he's able to do his slow-minded goo-goo, and he's going to say something here, trying to have a thought run through his mind. Recent did a Bantu City Diaries where they showed them the average worth of lifetime of a Bantu is about $2,048 or something, but the people of Denmark are worth over $200,000. Wow. That's like a big multiplier of difference of worth that they can bring and help for humanity. That's not even figured in. Just what they're worth as a net worth. It's real self-exposing. You ought to see my videos on Bantu City Diaries.
As of right now, like that's what I was saying earlier. Of course, you can sit here and say white people doing all this stuff, but you doing all this stuff off the backs of us.
How so?
How so? Chim chim stick. How does that mean that the white people and Caucasians of Europe that created everything and brought us into our modern thing somehow owe Chim Chim Gone Ook in Congo jungle that had no idea the world existed? It's off of your backs whenever you weren't even any part of any of it. Well, you've got to twist another lie to try to put that in effect.
That's of the people that you're leeching off of.
How so?
That's what I'm saying.
How so?
I just explained it earlier. You leached off.
Not good enough, or they wouldn't ask you the question. And they just want to hear you lie again and try to come up with goo 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 and lie.
Of our labor as slaves, you leached off of our land resources. You leached off of oil. You
Irish
leached off
slavery was more lucrative.
Huh?
Irish indentured servitude was more lucrative than black chattel
I'm not
slavery.
talking about.
Irish were the first slaves in America. It was more lucrative and everything, but then Judaddy ended up saying with the Portuguese, where they took the trans-Saharan slave trade, and 85% of them went to South America, and they were doing that because America wasn't going to have that bullshit. And then a ship that floundered in 1619 had a few slaves on it, and they tried to say, well, that was the start of it. That even really wasn't the start of it. But at that time, Louisiana Purchase is not in effect, so a third of America was owned by French, and the Spaniards owned a third of it down through Florida and all that type stuff, and Whitey owned the colonies up here off of it. Of course, you don't want to blame anything on that and the Portuguese, and you don't want to think that there's an Islamic slave trade that went on 900 years before that, and they describe you as being goo-goo fuckdom because you never had nothing. A minute ago you said 400 years ago we was kings and shit, but the world knows that you're lying. You shouldn't even try to speak on things like this, but you want to debate on the fact that we was king, we was Egypt, we was the Moors, we was gonna lie real fucking bad. Watch me lie.
Slavery, as you heard what I just said. I'm not just talking about slavery. I'm talking about oil, diamonds, gold.
So did you know what gold was? Did you know what diamonds were? Did you know what oil was? Did you know what you could do with an oil? Because that would have to go with an engine that was created by Whitey. You've never created an engine or anything. You don't care. The Saudi Arabians, when we first went there and started utilizing their oil, they were like, why are you pumping mud out of the ground? You want to give us how much for mud? And that's the way that went. But they're smart enough to know that Whitey can build things and do it great. So they built these new cities now from these billionaires off of oil wealth. And that was Caucasian architects that are doing it. And they did, because slavery still exists in the Near East, Middle East, and Africa, they did involve some slaves just to move the sand over here, move the sand over there, or whatever off of that, because that was an easier way to do it. But yeah, so Burj Al Araj, look up who made all these places and the architects and how to figure out how far to put the pillars down in the ground so it won't just go away because it's sand down to bedrock at a certain point and all of those type things. Whereas Chim Chim doesn't have a fucking clue. He puts his dung hat flat on the ground.
Slavery also.
You're talking about resources.
Slavery. Like there was no other slaves in the world, and that was the real problem there, where we took slaves that were prims that didn't know the world existed. Actually, people in their altruism thought that within a couple of generations they'll catch in. That's what they kept telling us. In fact, after they killed Lincoln, who said they'd all have to go back, they tried to have this ideal and give it a shot. Well, here we are many generations later. What is it? Oh, Whitey stole it from us. It's all off the backs of us. Whitey didn't build this nation. It was Prim gone ook. We invented everything. We invented all the buildings. We invented all the grease buildings. We invented everything. We was everywhere. We was everything and not ourselves. How self-exposing can you be? Let's continue with it.
The resources that they didn't actually know how to extract before Europeans got there. Like, we're talking about the most resource-dense continent ever, and black people, when we got there, they were living in huts.
Get all his gold.
Yeah, I think that's like historical.
Mansa Musa got all of his gold supposedly by capturing and selling off black people for beads and alcohol or gold or less or whatever, and tried to become a rich guy. And then he blew it all on a pilgrimage to a Caucasian god, because this was really the Islamics that were doing all this, and the Islamic slave trade. And again, Congoids were involved with this. Mansa Musa didn't come out of the Congo wearing a loincloth at best and goo-goo fuckdom. Are you going to try to pretend that he was, and he was black? You notice they try to claim everybody was black somehow. And Mansa Musa, I got one I can point out where he blew his money worshiping a white god and act like that's something. How pitiful.
Visionism. I'm not super well read on the Mansa Musa.
See, what y'all like to do is like to spew out lies because you hear shit and you believe it, but a lot of the stuff that you're saying is not true. They knew
what have I lied about?
Which lie? Chim, which lie? Because we've found 34 of you so far, and none by white people. Goo-goo?
What have I lied about?
What you just said right now. What did I say? They didn't know how to extract. They didn't know how to extract their...
They didn't know how to extract oil. They didn't know what diamonds were. It's just a shiny rock. You want to pay us how much for a shiny rock? Well, now they found out it's worth something to white people. especially in marriage, where they have a pact with the other and everything. Women are expecting this to come out of the men that are there, not trying to go get the milk or see if you can leech off a white woman. See if you can get a white woman. That's a big trophy for you, even if she is fat and unwanted.
Gold and
But they
diamonds
didn't,
before y'all
though.
got there. They've been extracting their gold. They've been extracting their diamonds way before y'all got there.
No, they weren't. They didn't have any diamond mines or anything. If you can prove that to me, I would be more than proud to prop that up. But they had no idea about diamonds. They had no idea about oil or anything like that, all the reserves. Now we're looking at getting certain elements out of Africa that help our cell phones to work, and the batteries that we use for these incredible fast Tesla cars and things like that. And the people are paid accordingly. Well, then there ends up being corruption. And then they left equipment there and they broke down all that equipment. Now they're digging by their hands to do it and stuff. It's pathetic to watch.
A lot.
Well, let me ask you this. So we got there and then we conquered. How was that possible?
Because y'all had an advantage. Y'all had guns.
Why did we have guns?
Because
Why?
We had guns and you had stick. So one's more advanced than the others. And you want to say it's just that little bit that's there? No, it's 700,000 years of change. All the people on the rest of the planet were able to slowly, naturally develop all the way through to civilizations where we are now. The problem is we're ripping a people that are 160,000 years and weren't even headed in the right direction in the first place into a white society, into a modern society, and act like you can do something now. And it's not happening, and everybody sees it's not happening. Orientals don't want blacks to come over there. They're like, oh, we're good. We're not going to play that stupid shit.
We have
got
guns.
it from.
It's because
have guns.
we invented firearms and sailboats.
I think the Chinese did.
They invented
I have to
gunpowder.
look that up.
There's some evidence that the Chinese invented gunpowder, but the point.
There's some evidence that two of the elements that make up gunpowder weren't endemic to the Chinese area. So what they really invented was spark powder and things very similar to fireworks. Now, it took a Caucasian shoving these fireworks into a tube and then lighting it, and it went boom out the other end, and they go, if I just put a rock in there, then it shoots that rock, boom, what will that do? And it blew a hole through the wall. So gunpowder as we know it today is come from Caucasians. Yeah. And so has nuclear and everything else that's come out of it. Power, energy, electronics, electricity itself, the light bulb, things like that. Look at a picture of sub-Saharan Africa at nighttime, and the dots of light that you see are few and far between, most of which are just fires.
Africans didn't. That's the point.
Yeah. So, and the other point is.
But that's important. That's important. You're saying that we conquered. Well, but that's I'm trying
to. Why you keep cutting me off? I'm trying to talk. I'm trying to answer your question.
Go ahead.
You ain't trying to answer it truthfully. You aren't trying to listen to him explain why what you're saying is null and void, but you gots to talk. Well, they'll let you talk.
And how do you do it? I said because y'all had the advantage of guns. But that showed that y'all are I'm trying not to cuss, but that showed that y'all are very pieces of shit and cowards, that y'all went everywhere where people could have defended themselves, killed them, and took their stuff. Most normal people wouldn't do that. As you can see.
So, the coward said what?
Now, China is the smartest thing on this earth right now. They're not thinking about going around the world and colonizing anybody. That is a very barbaric and...
No, they tried to do that in Pearl Harbor in World War II. A goo-goo. You don't know anything about history. You just want to talk shit and say stupid things. They have about a 3-point IQ on our common Americans versus their common people. But their common people are a constant. They're only them. In America, we've got to average it all in. So we've got to average low IQ third worlders and people like you in. And somebody figured out a long time ago, if we just said white America and their IQ and averages, we've got them beat by 12 points. You see, because, the average here is like 103, 105, whatever it is in their current judgment on what it is. But there are a lot of people that are 135, 140, 150, 160. Einsteins of this world. You've never had an Einstein. They're going to make a joke out of you and mention Yakub in a minute and the stupidity that came out of that sad lie.
Remedial way of thinking.
Sure.
So even if Africans had guns, we're not the type of people to think like that. I want to go around the whole world and beat them, steal them, kill them, rape them.
Yeah, so Africa.
Notice that they're smiling here because you are the people who can't control yourself with a gun. The world knows it. Everybody knows it, and you know it yourself. You can't even aim it right to shoot it correctly, but you are the one that kills off more black people in America than anybody is other black people because they're jealousy of each other. They kill people for shoes and shit. Caucasian things. Shoes. Yeah, so they do this and really show the world what their true colors are, and their true colors is doo-doo colored. Earlier you tried to mention there are some different colored black people. That's basically from admix. You can say from your color to chocolate brown is an average. But the Khoisan are more yellowy skin, like a high yellow form. Well, that's because they have admix from Caucasians way back when. It's been proven repeatedly. You ought to just look at Egyptologist 7's videos on what the genetics of these people show. And it's that incredible Caucasian DNA studies and everything into the nth degree of where we all came from and everything. And we know for sure no one in the world came from you. You have a 19% unknown ghost hominid DNA that no one else on the planet has, therefore showing you that you weren't the creator of anybody. In fact, you weren't the creator of yourself. You were admixed into your current position.
Africans
Nobody
with guns
talks
is a
like
lot
that, too,
safer. Well, I was trying to.
Yeah. Do you know that y'all killed 288 million people worldwide?
Oh no.
Do you know how much terror that y'all?
Oh no. Did you know you killed 288 million black people go stupid for stupid shit? I've got a recent video showed that one killed another one for chicken at a family barbecue. Yeah, it's real terrible. You constantly do that and everything. So what if we end up getting in wars and doing things? But you say y'all, where you're trying to involve in everything with Hitler and World War II and everything and end up with this number. And you can't look at yourself with a mirror. Hell, you'd giggle with a mirror. You'd want to give away 50 people for a mirror. If I could just have a mirror, it's magic.
Did over the world?
Well, really quick,
y'all are the most dangerous people on this earth.
Yeah, I was trying to kind of.
We are the most dangerous people on the earth if pushed. We created nuclear weapons, all advanced weapons as far as guns and things go, missiles. The airplanes that now have the missiles on them, that's all whitey. You might think of it, if you were back in the Congo, as those metal flying birds that keep going over. Of course, what happened in World War II was cargo cults, where they thought, see if this sounds familiar, they thought Whitey showed up with all that stuff, but Whitey can't be advanced. They must have stole it from our ancestors, and we want more cargo cults. They built these effigies that looked like a plane and looked like a tower and tried to have a runway thing there like what they landed in World War II while they were trying to go against the Japanese through the Battle of Midway and everything. And they worship him to this day. It's incredible. They have the John From cult because John from Indiana came there and gave you something once. Of course, the mentality is they couldn't be the super smart people. We just was smart, but we went dumb because they stole it from us. So they're all on the backs of prims in this little island nature, and your cargo must be ours. Does anybody think that sounds familiar with the bullshit he's trying to spew out of his mouth? Notice there's no fence, there's no apartheid or anything, so they just look around and they've got to make up stupid lies to make themselves feel better about being the least advanced people on the planet.
I was trying to take it down a train of logic there with the gun thing, though, because I was saying...
Don't try to take him down a train of logic. They don't have a logical mind in the first place. It's the reason he's spitting all this bullshit at you. He doesn't have a logical reasoning part of his frontal cortex. That bulbous forehead and the prognathic jaw show you a more simian type appearance. That's after admix. Repeated.
How did you guys get conquered? And you said because we have guns. And there's a train of logic I'm trying to come to a conclusion on. Why did we have guns? Well, because we invented guns. Or maybe Africans didn't invent enough to defend themselves from the people who had guns. It's like, how did we invent guns?
But
Because
what you're not understanding is that people don't think like y'all.
Interrupt again. People don't think like y'all. Oh, we know that. We know that for a fact. Sub-Saharans can't think like us. They just can't do it. In fact, they're so caught up in their hate, they've twisted it into Whitey can't tell me anything, whenever it's the only way they learn anything whatsoever. So they're just shooting themselves in the foot because I'm so jealous and envious I can't think straight.
Correct. That's literally my point.
That's what I'm saying. People don't think like y'all to the point. Not saying that y'all smarter, because as I was before you cut me off, but I was trying.
No, we're not trying to say we're smarter. We know we're smarter. The IQ index shows that. And guess who's at the bottom of the rung on the world's IQ? Only knew what you were supposed to be paying attention to. And the fact that things are radically different than each other should not be put together. And sure as hell shouldn't be forced. But here we are. It's sub-Saharans. They're not able, they're incapable. Goo. We are smarter. We're currently doing all of this and propping you up. Meanwhile, you're causing more crime and all of the problematic things and can't do anything good for America to make it work, whenever we're supposed to be only letting people in America that could match up somehow, not third worlders or anything, and surely not some prim out of Congo go goo goo.
To you that going around killing people and raping them and taking their stuff because you have an advantage does not equal out to being smart.
We don't want to talk about rape and going around and capturing and selling off your own people for beats and alcohol or less. We're trying to talk whitey bad for straightening the world out whenever it has a problem and say, that's bad, we goo-goo, we can't do anything, but we would do something so incredible. We would give them all flowers. We are so smarts now. We're the altruistic people, not Whitey that's propping us up. The Chim Chim Ruiner that's blaming everything on Whitey and saying they stole all the smart things from Whitey. Yeah, that's the smart ones. That's the goo.
Without that actually being a dumb imbecile.
Okay, well, guns didn't fall out of the sky, man.
Because
it took ingenuity.
Let me finish what I'm saying, because
let me finish lying.
Told you before. China's the smartest going on right now. Are we correct? They're not taking
by a couple of points, not more than 40 points. By a couple of points. So there's two real smart races here. There's Caucasians that invented 98.7 or 6% of everything around us. Oriental people, which are extremely intelligent and industrious, they have to pretty much oppress their children to make them be a violin virtuoso at 4th grade, and all these things come on. If we were doing that with white people, I'm sure we'd get that. But in America, we're trying to allow it to happen naturally, and this is a big experiment. The doo-doo in the swimming pool of the experiment is your people. But we owe you, because you is so smart. I fuck dumb. Whitey's not altruistic and propping me up daily. We was altruistic. We kept your cell off. We fuck dumb to this day.
Killing people and going around and conquering them.
They're about to go to war with Taiwan. It's not even close. Let me ask you a question though. We have to go back and forth.
But they're not.
I'm talking about talking over you. Yeah, so China's about to go to war with Taiwan and things like that. But I'm talking about something else, and in my mind it's supposed to mean something right, but I fucked dumb goo-goo and about to make a fool of myself, and I'm going to talk over you while I'm doing it. We can't have a conversation because I can't listen. I'm stuck on dum-dum.
they're not thinking about going around having
I got you.
slaves
I got
like
you.
y'all did and killing people.
Yeah, see, people already knows what you're saying. He's like, I got you. I know what you're going to try to say. You goo fuck dumb, and now we're still left at where we were before, but you had to talk. So you made noise out ass mouth, and now we go back to the same question.
That is a very autistic. You know where autism come from?
We have to stick.
You know where autism come from? It's a genetic defect and a problem, and hey, Trump just found out. Now, he didn't do it. He wasn't the doctors or anything doing it, but the medical board of America here came out and said, we're seeing a problem and a correlation here that using Tylenol whenever you're pregnant is a bad idea. It can make autistic things happen. I used to have a customer of mine years ago who had an autistic kid, and she thought it was something that happened like that too. And yeah, exactly, she did take aspirin during then, because back then they were saying that's okay, it's better to take than aspirin. But what brings about autism? It isn't white people. What brings about retarded IQ? Where you don't have an IQ, where whenever my mom was a child, the level of IQ of black people was considered retarded. So then they made D, they made the grade D, and then that still didn't work out. And so then whenever I was a kid, they started affirmative action, where everybody passes no matter what, we're going to give them a choice. And then worse than that, they said they're automatically going to get good grades in English, but they don't even speak it correctly. They don't have verb tenses or anything. We're going to call it ebonics and say it's okay, and now they don't have to speak correctly. What? Oh yeah, you can self-fuck yourself just constantly with this, just over and over again, and now we as smarts.
Comes from white people.
Where autism come from? All this stuff is connected.
We have to stick to one
Because
subject.
the way y'all think comes.
Don't think you got something to say. You're going to talk over this guy. He's about to tell you we're going to spend 30 seconds apiece with you shutting up in between. It involves you shutting up in between, so you can have what's called a conversation.
It comes from a very mental, like a mental illness.
Like a mental illness. It's got that. The mental illness shows that you can't think straight, that you want to blame Whitey on you dum-dum. And it's all your fault that we were prim still in jungle fuck dumb goo-goo when we didn't even know you existed. It was other people that found out. The Islamic slave trade and everything, well, they found out from the Berbers before. And they have that E1B genetics, which shows you they had mixed y'all in. They ruled over you. And then during the Moors, which we'll talk about shortly, the Islamics took over, and oh shit, that started a big bunch of problems. But it wasn't like blacks were altruistic, going around like hippies handing out flowers. No, they were chase me, eat me with all of the local tribes. They couldn't get along. They hated all of them. There's no unity whatsoever. Yeah, so still in this tribal mental faculty that isn't allowing you to go, and you're still stuck on the plantation in that mental capacity to this day. You're showing it with every expression out your ass mouth.
That's why y'all very depressed.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Y'all very violent type of people.
We have to stay on one topic here, though. We're changing topic.
Yeah, you're trying to change topics and go wish you were around. Y'all very violent people. Guess who the real very violent people are that can't control themselves, and everybody on earth knows it. But you're trying to project is what you're doing, Dindu. You're trying to project your goo-goo fuckdom on someone else and say, that's what that was. Well, what was this then? Oh, we can't talk about that because that ruins my narrative of Whitey.
Okay, so one of the things you said was, quote, white people are cowards and pieces of shit to going to different places with guns. The question I would pose to you is, hold on, now you're...
Don't interrupt, Doo-Doo. He's in the middle of a sentence. Because he has a comma doesn't mean I get to yip, yip, yip. Can you hold on to your thought till it's your turn? Blacks can't do this. They yakety mouth.
You're interrupting now. What the data shows is that even when you give
Still mouthing off. No. Then you bite your lip. Oh, I got to bite my lips. I got goo.
black people or people who descend from sub-Saharan Africa limited technology, they still commit violence in record numbers. So if you think that black, yes, they do. According
Yes, they do. Everybody on Earth knows it. The stats show it out. You don't want to know about per capita, and you're saying white people kill more people than black people. That's because you're 13% or 12 now due to millions coming in, and they're 64%, I believe was the latest number. So, of course, if there's 54 of something and only 13 others, what, 5.5 times the amount? So whites would have to do 5 times the amount to end up making up to what you do. But yet your numbers actually come up to be more than whites. Your numbers show that you kill more black people than black people do. It's all about black cops. Okay, so they gave you those cameras on them and everything now, and that's been the best thing that's happened to anybody now with the shut the fuck up, because it shows that black people can't get pulled over and act right. They act stupid. Got a recent video where a girl just didn't think it was right. She was getting pulled over and she zoomed off, tried to race against the cops and wrecked into and killed 2 people. Then they're in jail for years for killing somebody and their father. Oh, it was disgusting. But it's not like, oh, I'm just picking and choosing. No, there are thousands of videos of this. There are YouTube sites, channels that are dedicated to the black fatigue, and they show this over and over and over again. I occasionally will show white people doing something stupid. I currently did a recent video showing of them taking pony peg horses like you had to when a kid, and they're running around on an equestrian cart they made, acting like they're still on a horse hopping around, and they give grades to people for hopping around on a pony stick. So it's not just a one-sided thing. It's not all black people, but it's always black people. That's the statement.
FBI homicide statistics, they do reliably. Hold on. If you gave black people the same technology that the Europeans have, do you honestly think they would have been showing more mercy on average?
Absolutely. Like I just told you, it's been proved.
It's been proven. I can't speak English, but I got doo-doo mouth. You're so altruistic. All I hear from blacks is like, next time we're going to put you in slavery and we're going to do all this bullshit. No, well, that's going to be illegal. We ended slavery. You need to get back on that boat before you keep thinking those thoughts running through your mind, how I'm so jealous I can't control myself. That's the current worry in humanity, is that you can't understand the world. You can't understand reality, and so you make up bullshit in your mind to try to cope with it, and this causes you to say the most stupid, racist, foolish things. Yeah, and the worst racist in the world, as voted by the world, are black people. They feel like they're entitled to act that way now because my great-great-great-great-grandparents picked cotton badly once. So America started in 1776, but it was about almost the 1800s before we got everything settled down after the Revolution. We ended slavery in, 1805, 1807, and then, of course, shortly after that, we had Lincoln come into power, and to take advantage and try to win the war, he tried to set black people free down south. He said himself, I'm just doing it to fuck up that, and they're all going to have to go back anyhow. No, they're never meant to be free in the United States, and he sure would never consider them to be equal whenever they're definitely not in any aspect of humanity whatsoever, even with teaching.
We've done what y'all done. We have
because we figured out how to do it first.
We have done. Listen. Hold on, wait. This is the proof right here in the United States of America. How many of all do y'all know the percentage of the violent crime that created in the United States of America, and who does it?
Yes.
Yes, we all know it, and it's black people. And you have to figure in per capita, and then it ends up being 5.5, 6 times the amount as white people, while white people are currently propping you up. And the worst enemy of black people is black people. It's not the cops, it's not Whitey, it's not anything, but you're going to try to lie for the next 5 minutes. I feel like going on to a part 2 now, just letting this go and trying to go to part 2. We'll try to get through this aspect, but as I remember, it goes on for 10 minutes where he can't understand per capita and wants to blame it on Whitey.
60% of the violent crime that is done in America is by white men.
Yeah, that's true. Do you know why?
Yeah, I know it's true.
Do you know why?
Because y'all violent.
No, because we're...
Could you say, no, I don't know, because I goo-goo dum-dum shit? Because you're the violent people on this continent over here. In fact, everywhere you go, you have no control over it. I want problems, always. So let him try to tell you, but you're going to interrupt. He would have a short paragraph to say and you would understand it, but you can't let that happen because it's ruining your narrative. So you're going to interrupt him 20 times or whatever here and just try to ruin this part of the conversation. After stating the bullshit.
60% of the population.
And y'all violent.
Well, hold on.
Per capita.
What percent? What percent
Is this where you get caught and you can say the same thing over and over and over and over again? Like you think you is smart, so I'm going to say it over and over again and not have a conversation? Goo-goo. Look at him trying to hold back a laugh because they know for a fact you're gone goo-goo and trying to make something up. You're sitting over smiling like you think you is smart, but yet you are goo-goo fuck dumb on the world. Let's see if he can get through this.
black people? Do you know?
Yeah, 13% of black people recreate 26% of the violent crime.
So basically, if we use that number,
You wanna know why? You wanna know why? Can I tell you why?
Hold on, let him speak. He's trying to speak. Or are you gonna, you know what, and goo-goo?
Hold on. If we use that number, you guys are doing double the amount of crime relative to your percentage.
How much the percent?
He couldn't finish the sentence. You're already shaking your head no, like I can't handle it. He's giggling at you. Yeah, because you're doing more than twice your percentage. So 13 becomes 26. Well, if that's Caucasian, 60 would be 120. But nobody's doing that because you can't get over 100%. So what is the idea? Well, I'm trying to take math and go goo-goo and put my finger in my butt, pull it out and smell it and lick it. I'm dumb on the world. Are you going to interrupt him again? Tell you what, he's going to let you talk, and then it's his turn, and you're not going to be able to let him talk.
Of white people in America.
57.
Ah!
I think it's 64, but I think I'm smart.
57% you do 60%. It might be a little higher, but you know why? Because you put drugs in our community. You put drugs in our community. That's been proven through the CIA.
I don't know where we can go from here. I really, listen.
We really can't go anywhere much from here. They don't want drugs. No, it was all a big ploy to let black people actually get a hold of weed, to be able to buy liquor. Who is it that has a real problem with this? But you're going to blame it on Whitey. Whitey put the drugs in here. Not that y'all have a problem and you're easily drawn into that. No, it's Whitey. He was secretly planting drugs on Goo-Goo. Not that Goo-Goo is killing people for drugs. What? Oh, it's the opposite of what you say every time.
Have you ever heard of COINTELPRO? These are documented facts by the FBI and CIA. Yeah. This stuff has been documented. So you can't ignore it just because it don't sound good and I'm winning this debate. You can't ignore.
You ain't winning anything except for the fact of the world realizing you can't cognate, you can't have a correct conversation, and you want to blame Whitey on all your problems because you're victim mental. A goo-goo shotgun nostril goo-goo.
This stuff has been proven. Everything that came out of my mouth, you can't say that I'm wrong because you can't prove me wrong.
Yeah, we can. I've got a clip here with a guy that actually does this for a living, showing you the stats, and then he turns around and says, but they're worse than that because they don't want to report it. See, if they want to make the stats look better in the state, they just turn around and call them white people as opposed to being what ethnicity they are. And we also have to Mexican and Spanish people, South Americans, whatever you want to call it, we look at those as being Caucasians too. So in our little number that we got, we've got to put that number on there too and add up to it And I think we'd realize that happens worse in those cultures than white people.
Device in D.C. on the 6th of January.
Yep.
As the feds have arrested
They got his
this man
ass.
for planting the pipe.
Brian, you idiot.
Jr., a 30-year-old white man from the D.C. suburbs,
What?
is charged with...
White man. What? I saw this. This is what it's about.
Brian Cole Jr., a 30-year-old white man from the D.C. suburbs.
Wow, Jake Tapper's real reliable. Yeah. This has happened 110 times in the last couple of years where they try to say it was the white man and they find out it's not. And then the story goes null because the story was bad white man, the story wasn't bad black man. They're not going to show that. But they're trying to make everything they can find into white man. And they fail over and over again. It's fucking hilarious. I mean, how is this possible?
Is charged with transporting an explosive device.
Why would you say that he's white? Why? Like, what's weird about this is that
What's weird about this is nothing.
I say it endlessly, but you look at the blue areas, the Americas, the European, the places Europeans colonized, IQs of 95, 100, and better. You look at South and Central America, and they go down to average IQs in the 80s. Middle East, Northern Africa, India, average IQs in the 70s. Mentally retarded at 75. Sub-Saharan Africa, average IQs in the 60s, even the 50s. There are non-human mammals with imputed IQs of 50, like dolphins, elephants, pigs. That's the level we're talking about. And when you go to any of these regions and look at them, Americas, go to Europe, go to Russia, you see a certain kind of society. Go to Mexico, go to South and Central America, you see a certain kind of society that reflects their average IQ. Go to North Africa, along the Mediterranean, the Middle East, India, you see a certain kind of culture reflecting their IQ. Go to Sub-Saharan Africa, again, you see a certain type of culture reflecting their IQ. And we know this intuitively, don't we? Because, for example, in Africa, there were periods in recent African history where white colonizers went there, established Rhodesia, established South Africa. And those white people bring their first world IQ with them, and they create a first world culture within that third world environment. So it's not the environment. When Rhodesia is created, it's a first world nation. When South Africa is created, it's a first world nation. If it's handed back to the indigenous Africans, the black Africans, it reverts to a third world status again. Rhodesia becomes Zimbabwe. South Africa becomes the hellhole it is now. So it's all driven, the people are the destiny. And the people are the destiny in varying ways because of their varying IQ. Shooter.
What he looks like, male, possibly white, mustache, sunglasses, in that building, isolated to, they believe, to various locations.
Really?
possibly white.
Really?
Surely, guys.
Gonna find out who's naughty or nice.
Doing the booking, who's recording the data, he's just doing what he's told. His bosses are, and any police officer, once you get to the level of like captain in a police department, you're not really a cop anymore. You're a politician at that point. So your career is dependent on what the politicians
Oh, and you can't,
if
you
the
can't
politicians
say.
want to say, hey, black crime is down, well, all they have to do is take a bunch of black criminals and label them as white. Right? It's the same way they don't record. So they'll also diminish a lot of crime. So a black guy comes in, he committed an attempted murder. He shot someone, and they'll downgrade it to aggravated assault, which is still a serious crime, but it's much less than it. And then they'll say, oh, look, the attempted murders are down.
Do you have any idea what it actually is?
What actually is?
Like, what do you think the rates actually are? Do you have any idea, if you had to guess?
Oh, it's just horrific. I can tell you that if we took okay, Okay, here's some examples. Black men commit violent crime at 20 times the rate of white men.
Oh my God.
That's with the bad data.
Oh,
so
shit.
imagine if we clean up the data, what the numbers would actually be. Black women commit homicide at twice the rate of white men.
No way.
Yep.
Do you know what?
Wow. Yeah, this is a statistician. Famous. Well known. Not going to lie to anybody. Sugarcoat it. Anything like that. He's also not going to pander. Wow. He's going to just tell you the truth. Wow.
I went on this show.
Those bitches are dangerous, man.
Yeah, I know.
Careful.
No, I got in trouble recently because I went on a panel show and this girl was like, "Oh, she was saying I was jealous because the black women are stealing the white men, apparently."
Oh.
And I'm like, "No, not really. I mean, you can." And then I told her, "I'm like, half of you guys have herpes. We're not really worried about it."
That's true.
And that's on top of the obesity rate, and they got really mad at me. And I went on this other show, and one of the guys was like saying that it was bad that I didn't know the white crime stats off the top of my head, and I'm like, I have eyes. Like, I walk outside, the cracked out guys are the black guys.
If we take the black violent crime out of U.S. crime statistics, America has the same violent crime rate as Switzerland.
No way.
It's almost entirely black male violent crime.
Wow.
And we've heard the current thing, Whitey's the problem in America, whereas Whitey's the only reason it's here, and you're the problem in America. Third worlders. You know, that Somalian bitch, Ilhan Omar, trying to say that. How disgusting. How disgusting. We're so altruistic as we steal 18 billion out of just this one state, but goo fuck dumb. And you think you got something now. You really think you got something now. Whitey causes more crime. Well, they're 64% of the population versus 13. So they should do 5 times the amount as you. But it's not 5 times the amount. It's right there at it and real debatable. But then when you figure out, well, you're only 13. If you are the same rate as Caucasians, then you're doing 6 times the amount. Don't you understand how mouth works? No. Yeah, so he's going to try to let you know we're going to have to talk 30 seconds per piece or something because you keep ruining every conversation that tries to come on while blaming Whitey because you as victim.
Let's respond. Let's be professional.
I is talking over. I can't listen. Yabba. I think I know something.
Then you don't let me finish. Let me finish with what I'm saying.
You talked for a very long time.
You talked for a very long time and got nowhere, and then when I ask you something about it, you start talking over me and say you ain't let me finish. Finish exposing yourself? Goo. Wake up. We're trying to have what's called a conversation, but you can't have one with black people. They won't let you speak.
For a very long time. Respectfully, do you know? Do you know what per capita means? Do you know what per capita means?
Let me finish what I'm saying first, then I can answer.
Well, let me do this and that, and then I'll be smart enough to go goo. You know what? They're altruistic. They're going to let you self-expose and then try to get into the topic again. You won't be able to handle it now or then either.
Per capita question. You put drugs in our community. You put guns in our community. You over-police it to put us in jail so you could get the free labor legally through the 13th Amendment. So, of course, actually, that is a very low statistic if you're going to over-police a community that you're putting drugs and guns in. And, of course, the outcome is going to be like that. Less education, less jobs in those communities. Like, what the hell is you talking about? Once again, you're talking about stuff. Hold on, let me finish. You're talking about stuff that you have a hand in. Okay. The CIA was documented for putting guns in our community. The CIA was documented for putting drugs in our community. Okay, this is not no made-up stuff.
Okay, I'm going to respond to you. We have to be less emotional here. So, for the sake of the debate, we're going to have to go. We're going to have to go 30 seconds, 30 seconds. If we're going to be productive and professional here, you go 30 seconds, we go 30 seconds, and we go back and forth like that with no interruptions. So, in response to that, here's my follow-up question. Say, hypothetically, we're going with your numbers. Let's say that white people represent 60... Hold on.
FBI numbers.
Hold on. Okay, calm down. let's say white people represent. Right. Let's say a white.
No, you're very unable to have a conversation. You interrupt. He just talked about 30 seconds. You're like, all right. And he gets 7 seconds into it, and you start talking. Did you realize that whenever you're talking, you're not listening? So we're not having a conversation because all you've got is lying talking points, and then you talk over them.
People represent 60% of the population and commit 60% of the violent crime. Now let's say black people are 13% of the population and commit 26% of the violent crime. Which one of those per capita is committing more crime?
Is the police over policing your neighborhoods? Is the police?
Nobody cares if there needs to be more police in the black neighborhoods due to the amount of crime that's there. It's not your answer, goo fuck dumb. You have a question presented to you, and you are trying to fucking it's cops' fault. It's never our fault. We can't be fuck dumb goo goo. It's just we fuck dumb goo goo.
That's not the question. It's per capita.
No, that is the question because that's the answer. If the police is over policing your.
No, that's not the question. He's laughing at you. He's getting tired of this bullshit. He's like, I need to get lunch. I mean, this is just a waste of time. So it is the answer. No, it's not the answer. The answer is not excuse. The answer is not blame Whitey. The answer is look at yourself in the mirror, but you can't do it. You're so caught up in trying to blame Whitey, and you think you got something to where you can't even let them finish the sentence, and whenever it does, you can't answer the question. You try to skirt left and right. You're going to dodge. You're going to juke. You're going to, fuck them.
Putting drugs in your neighborhood, I guarantee you that your crime rate would be astoundingly higher. You cannot do.
We have drugs in our neighborhood. We're the ones that you get drugs from if you don't get them from black people. But we're able to control ourselves to the point that we don't have the problems that your people do with the same product. Just like the Oriental people had a problem with opium once it got there, but we don't need to go there. Let's go with the idea, are you going to quit butthole lipping and trying to talk over people and then not answer question? Are you ever going to get to the answer? Because now you're just repeating bullshit that's a lie.
Like put drugs? Yeah, you cannot do.
I'm not familiar with that word.
Outstandingly higher. Oh. But you cannot do stuff like put drugs, guns, and give people less jobs and act like they're not going to try to make money and do the stuff. It's like, bro, what you're saying is you're acting like the whole world is equal and everybody's getting the same opportunity and not getting fucked with. We're getting.
No, we're not saying that at all. We're saying that we're not all the same. And you're goo fuck dumb, and you couldn't bring yourself out of the hole that you're in. Out of Africa happened to everybody else but you never came out of Africa. You never came to North Africa. You never came to anywhere. You stayed in your little place because it was easy. You lived in a shadowy jungle area. I don't know if you know or not, but the Congo is a jungle area almost as big as the Amazon. It's fucking huge. And so you stayed there, and there are people who believe that black skin was developed not for trying to avoid the sun because you're living under a jungle canopy, was for hiding from each other in the shadows by being black. You know, like a ninja wears black. That doesn't mean the ninjas were black, though, but it does mean the Negroes were black.
Within our community. We're getting over police in our community. We're getting drugs put in our community. Y'all are not. And for y'all.
Oh, we are. It's just we're able to handle it and live, and you can't. Oh, Google.
To have drugs in your community and be over policed in your community, and y'all still have a high violent crime rate, that shows to who y'all are.
It's been 30 seconds now. We have to go back and forth.
Yeah, you're over-policed, and yet you still violent, cause all kinds of crimes. The crime stats we're talking about are your people's crime stats while being over-policed, and it's still that bad. Recently, they tried to defund the police. Guess which way that would have gone? Oh my God, what a fucking nightmare. Well, there were some smart black people come out, and they got their shit stolen by neighbors and things like that before, and they're like, no, we need more cops, not less. What the hell? Hey, we got all the video cameras going on now and shit and everything, so they can't lie.
Remember? So once
Go
again,
ahead. I said what I said. That was my answer.
the question.
So he's got 30 seconds where he gets to talk. That's this guy, where he had that before and you wouldn't let him talk. Now he's going to talk without you talking over him. Or are you unable to do that?
It's a very simple answer.
That was my answer.
But you're not answering the question directly. Per
That
capita.
was the answer.
Hold on.
Mouth.
Per capita, in that situation, according to your numbers, which population is committing more violent crime per capita?
What I'm telling you is that you cannot ask that
He can ask that question. You can't answer it.
question without having the full context.
Yes,
you cannot.
can.
Like I
That's
said,
the
no,
question.
you cannot.
Yes, you can. Just straightforward stats. Who is the violent, crime-ridden, non-biblical recent primitive that can't handle reality and is trying to blame shit on Whitey? It's very easy. You can say, how many of this kind of bike broke down? How many kind of that bike broke down? Oh, it's not the context. They had no. How much of this bike broke down? How much of that broke down? Well, Schwinn's the better bike then. But you can't even have the conversation.
That's not a fair question. That's not a fair, like I just said.
Questions aren't fair if it doesn't wrap around my goo dum brain.
You know the answer. You don't want to say the answer.
What?
There's an objective answer to the question. There's an objective answer, and you're not answering it.
Because it's not the same as the answer you haven't talking about two different environments with two different
yes
with two different
yes,
like what can I
yes, what can you say? With one people got goo fuck dumb, frontal lobe problem, can't live in civilization, and it's evident with what's going on back in Africa now. They're all left alone. None of this shit happened to them, but Whitey come, they stole our brain, they took all our shit. I dumb goo. Well, show me the stuff you created. Oh, it's all hidden. I got a good goo dum.
Two different circumstances, two different environments, two different
Two different
There's
environments.
still an answer.
Two different outcomes.
To get on to the next part of the question.
If y'all was to not put drugs in our community and leave us alone, our crime rate would be lower. That's the answer.
Oh, that's definitely a known lie there. Your crime would be even harder if we took the cops out of your neighborhood. And what are we supposed to do? Make it illegal if you have drugs? I think we already have that. There are enough blacks in prison for drugs to end up proving that a fact. But you got snappy mouth. You look like you cocky. You look like you think you know something. But what the world knows is you fuck dumb.
Okay.
Man,
all right. We can go back and forth. Here's a different question right here. Let's say it's the same hypothetical, but within this hypothetical where you have white people being 60% of the population committing 60% of violent crime, and you have 13% of black people committing 26% of the violent crime, but in addition to those numbers, the policing is the same, the drug usage is the same. This is a hypothetical. All other variables externally are the same on either side, but you're still looking at just the numbers. Per capita, which population is committing more violent crime per capita?
I guarantee you, if it was the same, the numbers wouldn't be the same.
Wow.
I guarantee you that.
So
like I said, if the CIA put drugs in and y'all have a drug epidemic right now. Y'all got an epidemic right now, and nobody's even doing that to y'all.
It's true. I have a very important question.
We do, but yet blacks have a worse drug problem. And the world knows it, and you can't admit it. You can't get a mirror and look at it and go, oh yeah, well, you're too busy trying to blame Whitey on Google fucked up.
Very important question. Did you eat breakfast today?
Did you?
Yes, did you?
Can you answer a question? He says, do you have hair? And you go, do you? No, well, look, we asked you a question. We didn't ask you to ask a question and just go stupid and not have a conversation. We're asking you. Did you have breakfast today? Because he didn't and he needs to grab something to eat. But you're too busy. Yip.
Yeah, I ate breakfast.
Okay, had you not eaten breakfast today, how would you feel?
If I haven't ate breakfast today, I would still be fine. Sometimes I go a whole day without eating until like probably nighttime. I might feel a little sluggish.
Oh, that was pretty good. That was better. That was better than I thought. Well, I was testing your ability to actually extrapolate on a hypothetical.
We surpassed the threshold. Okay, let's switch the topic. We appreciate your time, by the way. Let's switch it up a little bit here. What do you think is the number one grievance as a Black American person you would have towards white people?
Grievance, like what? That's what I just said. Everything that I just said, basically, if y'all wasn't the conniving pieces of shit people that
says the conniving piece of shit.
Like I said, do everything y'all can do to keep us down, oppressed.
Doing everything we can do to prop you up. Affirmative action, welfare, everything, propping you up constantly, but it's not enough. You've got to be propped up so much that you can't recognize you're stupid. Is that what you're coming up with? Fuck dumb.
Stop our population, do everything you can do to kill us and have us not exist. If y'all wasn't that towards us, and like I said, if y'all didn't have the advantage of guns back in the day, and y'all wasn't going around killing people who couldn't defend themselves, if it was equal, like y'all like to do, like y'all trying to compare the two communities like it's equal, if everything was equal, y'all wouldn't stand a chance against us. If
you want to go and you want to try it, we'll see if your 12% S can do something that doesn't make it to where the ones that are left are still on that boat going the fuck back, and you're going to have to tell somebody over there you used to be kings and Whitey took it all from you. Yeah, you'll end up still being the joke of humanity. A goo-goo.
Guns, when y'all had guns, and it would crack, yeah, it wouldn't be like this. If y'all was getting drugs put in y'all communities and getting redlined and kept out of the banking system and all this and that, y'all wouldn't be the same.
Yeah, you couldn't get credit because you aren't worth credit. They tried it a little bit and they realized, well, you got a loan and you won't pay it off. So then we had to make up laws where we get to take back that car. Sure, you put the down payment on the car off of some other bullshit, but lo and behold, you've got to make payments. I mean, don't be fucked dumb.
Put it like this: if the tables was turned, I think y'all would be way worse than black people.
If the tables were turned, we know you would be trying to enslave the locals, playing chase me and fuck dumb stupid. It's been proven. Put them back in Liberia. A Chicago bus driver thought we was gangs, and so he took a group over there with him. What did they do the first? Well, they enslaved the locals and became the cannibal warlords of Liberia. That's what you would come. Well, if it was all equal, well, look, here we go. It's not all equal. There are two races of humans, Orientals and Caucasians, that are doing fantastic things. But there's these other people. I mean, we do realize there are primitives on this planet and they don't know shit. Fuck dumb. Let's don't say you. Let's say the headhunters of Erie and Jaya, people of Sentinel Island and in the Amazon. So are they going to be altruistic? If the tables were turned, what would happen? Aren't we all glad that the tables aren't turned in any way, shape, or form? You can't turn a table even when we're propping you up more than any people in the history of humanity.
So, that would be more violent. Y'all have a way more violent nature.
You have a way more violent nature. It's been proven. You can try to project all you want to, goo fuck dumb, but your people have the violent nature. We have the altruistic nature. It's the reason you're here. Oh, snap.
Expandedly or whatever. Worser. So, I guess, what was I going to say? I had a good question. Oh, right. So, I guess that would be a frustrating way to view the world, so I understand why you'd be upset about that. So, I'm a white person. I'm a white American. I've always been a white American. That's how I see myself. That's how the world sees me. That's the group I fit into. And I know a lot of white Americans. I know other people too, but myself and all of the white Americans that I know, I'm not well connected. I don't know a whole lot of rich people or people in the government. The way that I feel like you view it is we sort of wake up every day and we do whatever we possibly can to keep the Negro down. We don't like black people. We just want to keep them down. I wake up and I say, those damn black people.
Instead of trying to push a white people bad idea, which the media has tried to put in and all these things, and we're propping you up daily. Oh yeah, affirmative action, DEI hire, the whole fucking 9 yards. Yeah, but you think white people sit around all day thinking, oh, I hate Blackie. No, it's not true. You wouldn't be here. But we do know that you sit around all day thinking, I hate Whitey, hate Whitey. If we was smarts, then we was kings and shit. And if we was, well, you can quit thinking of these hypothetical situations that did never happen. You should, so you quit thinking these jealous, envious, low IQ thoughts that really have no place in humanity.
I don't see anybody doing that. I certainly don't feel that way. I have zero desire to keep anybody down. If anything, it would benefit everybody if everyone were to flourish, and there wouldn't be interracial tension or problems if
if black people were able to pull their edge of it, actually, and in an equal standpoint, we wouldn't be talking now. If you were able to be pulled out of your pre-Neolithic tribal past and within a few generations ended up catching right in, we wouldn't even be having this conversation now. But we're having this conversation because in your mind, Whitey propping me up is bad. He's the violent one, not us violent one. 6 times the amount, 10 times the amount. Oh my God. We chim fucked them, and if we were spaceman, then we would be altruistic and giving everybody flowers.
Everybody was flourishing, and we can cast blame, but we can say if a white American, I'll finish up, but if the average white American sees himself as wanting to keep other people down, I think there would be better evidence for that. All the white people that I know just care about raising their kids and paying the next bill.
And we prop up black people more than anybody's ever been propped up in the history of humanity, here and in Africa. Yet it's a failure every time. Why is it a failure? Well, these people over here have an idea that they is virtuous, they is better than Whitey, we is superior, while coming from a dung hut and unable to understand civilization. We fucked them goo-goo.
Survive as it is. So I don't really see this vast evidence of racial suppression, and I don't see the actual positive benefit of doing that to begin with. Like, what do we get from doing that? I don't get anything. I don't know anybody that does. Who does?
No. Let me answer that. You don't, but unfortunately, the people in power do. Okay. I'm not saying all white people are evil, and I'm talking about the people, white people that are in power are the people that are putting drugs in our community.
So Jews, right?
Yeah, hey, that is true. That is true too.
Do you think Jews are white?
Is Jews Nazi?
Yeah, you think Jews are white because they quite often don't say they are. Genetics shows that they are, but they want to pretend they're different. They invented this God thing that is just Caucasian mythology that doesn't mention your people whatsoever. But notice it's white people propping up Israelis and fighting their fights for them and everything, and no one can deny that. But and we're doing the same type of thing for you. We're not doing no fight for anything for you because we don't want to add to your uncontrollable violent nature.
And American white people from British too. Is racist white people everywhere. And a lot of them that are in power are very racist and do want to exterminate black people and view black people as a nuisance or whatever, and do everything in their power that they can to try to oppress us and keep us down because they fear that,
That's why we had a black president for he's only half black and raised by his mama, so he didn't have the usual black mentality. But that's why we do that. That's why there are black people all in politics, which you're talking about. There are so many in politics nowadays, and actually most of those are DEI hires, or I won't say most, I'll say a good amount of them are DEI hires, or altruistic white people trying to go, well, let's put the black people in so they can't call us racist anymore. Did you know the most racist people in the world are goo fuck dumb? And everybody in the world votes on it and says, yeah, exactly. They can't handle the truth and they're blaming everything on it. You don't hear white people doing it so much anymore, but whenever you're given a chance to look at it, you're like, yeah, look at the FBI stats. Yeah. And so it's an R word, not racist. It's called reality. You got to look into it, because living in this little fantasy world where we were altruistic, running around like hippies handing out flowers, and white man bed came over and stole us and stole our brain, and everything white people have is because of gung doo hut, and the primitive can't do fucking shit. Got eek.
Get in power, we get on our feet, we're gonna do the same thing that y'all did to us. Now,
that's what you keep saying. White people are going to be put in chains, and you're going to do all this, you're going to do all that. We'd like to see you try it, because as soon as you did, you would, of course, be annihilated pretty badly, but then the people that finally agree would get back on that boat and go back to Africa, and then we wouldn't have to hear this bullshit about how whitey don't prop me up enough anymore. Starting to look pretty enticing. We can get rid of about 70% of the crime here, and it's amazing. We don't have to go 50-50. It'll only take about 13%.
You to say most white people just want to raise their kids, yeah, that's cool now, but back in the day, let's not act like y'all wasn't racist and hanging black people. It wasn't just the people up in power. It was
the black people who got lynched were the problem of a court justice going around, and people weren't going to wait for that whenever you raped that little white girl there. Black people want to act like every time they got lynched, it was just white people not liking black people. Like they should like their daughters getting raped by somebody or things like that. Do you think there was ever a black person that got lynched that wasn't guilty of what it was said? Is it possible somebody thought that was him, but it wasn't him? Or say, if you thought that, are you going to say that's what happened every time, not just this one? And I can point it out that Chim Chim can't act right. White people have always, from the times of Cro-Magnon on, had a virtuous thing towards their own children and people. Of course, blacks don't have this, though. Bantu City Diaries has proven it, basically, that they don't care about their own kids. They had a video showing a white girl over in Africa trying to feed this black kid that they're neglecting and let starve to death because they say he's cursed, because he's got rickets and wobbly legs and stuff. And it's like, all you need is vitamin D and this, that, and the other. We could fix this easily. But he's being neglected by his own people. Black people, whenever they have this baby mama thing, they aren't raising kids either. They're just hoping Whitey will raise their kids. Here's your welfare check.
A lot of y'all too that was the members of KKK. KKK had like about 5 million people, million members in the
KKK had like 1.5 million members. If you look into it deep, that was the Democrats. But of course, they were there just to make a easy court justice out of it. They turned it into something that it never was. I did a video 6 years ago now about how it formed as a KKK, and it was this idea that they're going to become civil justice. It's just, they got kind of keyed on y'all because y'all were the real problem. We could go fine with all this other shit, but damn.
1950s, y'all was some racist motherfuckers as a majority. So yeah, now y'all might be just want to raise your kids and get by, but 40, 50 years ago, huh?
Not for long. See, we've been dormant for a while. We might just have to get racist again. I don't know. Things aren't looking very good.
We waiting.
Yeah, we waiting. And whenever we do get racist again, where we just go, look, we've had enough blaming us for your shortcomings and your low IQ and your inability. You're just a leech. You're a leech mooch on humanity, and it's about time for you to go back. We'd appreciate it if you would just willingly get on that fucking boat, but if you can't do it willingly, there will be a way for it to happen. And we're just waiting for you, Troy. My whole life, people in the background, all these hicks, all these guys with all these guns, they're like, if they ever try it. I'm practicing every weekend out on the course, here's shooting everything. I can pop the eyeball out of a squirrel 300 yards.
For y'all to do that, because I guarantee you, it ain't gonna come out like you think it is, buddy. We got guns. Like I said, you don't have the advantage.
Now we're gonna threaten. You ain't got the advantage. Yes, we do. We're 64% and you're 13 or 12, but we also have the advantage of brain, and we have the advantage of this is our country, and we have the advantage of knowing that we can tell you to get the fuck out of our country. That we tried the experiment, it was a failure, it was because of your own fault, it's not because of us expecting too much, because we just expect a modicum of decency out of people, and you are proving you are incapable.
Have the advantage that you did last time. And then, like I said, we not scared no more.
I know. We see.
Yeah, we know. Y'all are ready. Y'all are goo fucked up. I violent. Yeah, violent brain, violent fuck up. Chim chim.
Like, but that's neither here nor there.
I'd like to respond to you, Dr. 16. Just to clarify, we're not the ones calling for violence here, but I'd like to ask you a question here. I think this is an...
Whoops.
You said something about the KKK. I mean, if you look at the data, black people in America within 3 to 5 years have committed more violence than the entire length of the KKK's organization existence. So, I mean, it's not even close to...
Yeah, that's a FBI stat, too, where they were saying, okay, what was all things that happened by KKK? And then they go, well, what's the current? Well, you just take the last few years, and that makes up more than your whole KKK dream, and that's all black people. Quite often on their own people and so on. So the worst enemy of black people is black people.
Hold on. We have to be calm. Let's be calm.
30 seconds. Don't talk over. Don't not uncontrollably run that mouth. Goop.
That is that's a statistical reality. But my question to you would be, what if okay, you can disagree with...
You can keep talking over and not listening and goo and make yourself fuck dumb because everybody knows the truth, but you're like, no, that ain't the truth. We virtuous, we holy and shit. Do.
Empirical data. What would be the top two or... Okay, what would be the top...
Talk over him again. I don't know what we're at now. It's got to be over 60, 70 times where he just can't let a sentence come out of his mouth without saying something about it. Yakety mouth. You're not running anything but your mouth.
It's not data, right? What would be the top... Okay, hold on.
Here we go again. Hold on. Quit yakety mouth. Can't do it. I'm the doctor of dumb shit.
I'm asking you. I'm not done. I'm asking you a question. What would be the top? What are the top 2 or 3 main ways in which white American people are holding down and oppressing black people in 2026?
All right, so let me answer. First, get to your data. They was not record.
Not going to answer the question that's asked. Being giggled at. Let me see if I can talk out my butthole mouth. And prognathic. Weird how one lip black, one lip pink. Anyhow, yeah, you can't answer the question posed to you. You want to bring up some shit because you think you smarts and you got something to say about before. So they're going to altruistically allow you to self-expose doing that, and then they're going to still expect the answer.
They was not recording all of the lynchings and all of the killings that the white people...
So how do you know it happened? How do you know it happened?
If they didn't record them all, then how do you know it happened? Are you just making it up in your fucking dumb mind that it was happening to everybody? You remember Roots? Yeah, it was a show that came on when I was a kid and everything, and it was supposed to be about the back pipe. The only problem is Alex Haley had stolen that whole story from a white person that was trying to virtue signal, and he got caught, and he had to pay him, wait for it, reparations, because he had plagiarized him. Down to names, places, everything. The whole Kunta Kinte thing is all a lie. Definitely. Yeah, and he never found any of his ancestors. But he sure did get black people thinking that if something bad happened, it happened to every one of us every day. As opposed to, well, one thing bad did happen. Meanwhile, you're getting taught agriculture and everything else, reading about Whitey Cracker Jesus and the Bible and everything else, and being propped up more.
Absolute criminals, man. When facts trump your feelings.
The people that got killed. Of 963, how many do you think were black?
600 will be black.
600.
And then like the rest will be like maybe Hispanic.
600 were black. What would you say?
Whoops.
Probably like 500.
Here we go.
Oh no.
This is a thinking class right now. I'm walking you through some thinking. Okay, go to the next one. So how many of the 963 people were unarmed? How many do you think were unarmed? Here we go. Go to the next slide.
517 had a gun.
So here are the numbers. You said 400 were unarmed. You said 500 were unarmed. What do you think about that number?
I'm actually kind of like shocked. I honestly thought like, I'm not saying like the media, like, I don't know, they just made it seem like, you know, the guy was innocent, you know, just crazy how 517 had a gun. I would think it would be less than that.
So 22 out of 233 black people who police killed in 2016 were unarmed. 22. So that means you have a 0.6 chance in a million of being unarmed, black skin, and killed by the police. So if you're going to protest, really step out in this way, you got to know what you're protesting.
Yep.
Is it a genocide? So when I see someone holding a sign up that says, stop the genocide of black people at a protest, and I'm saying, I wouldn't call that a genocide.
I'm saying Goo is fucked up in the head trying to think things, and the media didn't help at all. But lo and behold, I can't think straight. Well, he's trying to teach you critical thinking. He's giving you actual numbers. Would it be terrible to know that 12% of the smoke alarms cause over 70% of the beeps? That would be something they'd figure in there too, because we're looking at, oh, bad on black, and then they find out, no, that's a joke, and you're still yip-yapping. Then if you look at the stats of how many blacks killed white people versus white killed black, it's, oh my God. And then they don't want to figure in the fact of per capita. They definitely don't, because in per capita, they end up with that effect of 14 times his amount. Yeah, it's gone insane. I'll do a whole video on the numbers here. We'll go through it one time. I'll always find somebody that has the actual FBI current stats.
There's a lot happening here, but that's not what I would call it. It's really important.